Hello and welcome. This is eRacing GP Global Edition 11. I can't believe we're on 11 season. Can't believe we're on 11 seasons now. My name's Alex Young, and this is Amo Hazik. Amo, what are you looking for? We are to round two of 4 rounds, and we're at a new track, aren't we?
Yep, indeed. And it's a track that has been resurrected back from the dead virtually. And it's a circuit that you know very well. You've driven here many times in the past.
Yeah.
And I bet you're the most excited of all of us to have this back on board.
Absolutely.
The Shah Alam Circuit.
That's right, 3.5 kilometer circuit. It's not really 3.7, 3.5. 15 corners, and it is a quite a fun track to drive. Yeah, we will have a look at it. You can see it looks a bit like the shape of a lion, really, doesn't it? It looks like it's stalking your prey. It's a track that's no longer here. Disappeared 20 years ago.
Exactly 20 years ago, I think.
Yeah, but this is the great thing about virtual racing. We can bring it back alive, and that's what we've done. And check out this hot lap. Okay, here we are at the Shah Alam Motorsport Paradise, also known as SAMP. This is the Batu-Tiga track as we go through the last couple corners onto the start-finish straight. 3.5 kilometers, 14 corners. It was built in 63, renovated in 88 for Grand Prix bikes, which it ran for 10 years. Now braking for turn 1. Third gear, use the apex through turn 1, easy flat through turn 2, onto this medium length straight. Now, turn 3 is kind of interesting. You brake just as you turn in, and don't brake too late. Oh, I've braked too late, because these cars have a lot of grip. Now, turn 4, we're in Electrolux Hill. You can see the hill on the left of us. This is where all the crowds used to be for GP bikes and also local racing. We used to get good local racing here. Now, out of turn 7, got to get a good exit out of there, which I didn't, because it leads onto the long back straight. It's not really a straight, got quite a few corners. Now, this used to go straight here, but in 88, when they renovated the track, they produced a Lucas Loop, which is this right-hand bend to try and make the length of the track long enough for GP bikes. From 6th down to 3rd, try and get some curb on the left-hander, good exit there. Then this 90-degree right, never really had a corner, turn 11. Get a good exit out of there before coming to this long right-hander, double apex, just about flat in the Tatus. It won't be flat in the Jordan. Before coming to the last couple corners on the track. This is Rothman's corner, turn 13 and 14. Get a good exit out there, use plenty of the curb. In real life, those curbs are that big as well. Well, not real life, because this track doesn't exist anymore. And that's a lap, the Shah Alam Motorsport track. Okay, well, that was a lot of fun to drive, Amo. I mean, have you driven the track yet?
Of course, I've driven it many times already. The lead up prior to that, just so we could really test if there's anything wrong with it. And as far as I've seen, the track's pretty perfect. It's almost exactly how it would be believable based on the onboards that I've seen as well. So our track designer KJ has done an amazing job in putting little details. And I think some of the details, for those people who know the circuit personally, will definitely tell that this is almost a carbon copy.
I love the fact that you mentioned KJ. He's done a great job for us. You can even see the Shah Alam Stadium, Club Shah Alam as well if you look out. But look out for it later. But that's later on when we do the copper, the bronze, and the gold and silver. Let's look back at what happened at copper recently. So we saw Ramdani and Jasmantan finish first and second in copper class in round 1. But they are too quick and they are too experienced. So we have moved them up to bronze for today. The Mohamed Rais, Nabil Jalil, and Rizky Nova rounded out the top 5. Then in the team standings, you got Stratos Motorsport at the front. And in the Nations Cup, Malaysia's leading from Philippines and Indonesia. Okay, so that's what it's looking like right now. We should go back to the on-track action. You can see they're actually in practice right now. Yeah, you can see the guys are practicing. 17 guys. Adre going out wide, big time, and crashing at, well, I think they call that Lucky Strike corner. They used to call it Lucky Strike corner anyway. It's the new loop anyway that broke up the back straight. But we'll be going to qualifying in just under a minute. Let's see if we can ride on board with some of these cars as they have a look at some of the action.
Yep, and in fact, the Lucas Loop is the one afterwards, isn't it? Because they have a lot. They had quite some questionable names as well because they use cigarettes and everything. But apart from that, really nice circuit to drive, and I was a bit unfortunate to be born before, just slightly before the circuit got torn apart, before I had any sort of sentience to know how the circuit was like to drive on.
Yep, that's right. We're talking about this. I called this bit the Lucas Loop in the on-bike. That was incorrect. It's actually the Lucky Strike corner. This is Lucas Loop right now. Fast corner. Still not quite perfect, because in real life I remember it being a double apex. Isn't quite a double apex today. Then down to Rothmans. And this is very similar to real life. You've got the red tarmac for the pit lane there, and you do have to monitor the curb. Well, what used to be real life. And it's so cool that they've got the detail of the control tower on the right. That's pretty fascinating. And like I said, the red pit lane is pretty cool indeed.
Yeah, that's quite a nice little detail that was actually put by KJ, and it's just based on, of course, your memories as well, the circuit, but
Yep.
is it exactly how it was like that? Because the whole circuit was paved in red tarmac, just like how in roundabouts.
Absolutely. It is very similar, in fact. I think we're going to fast forward to qualifying now. What's that? They've got 20 drivers right now. So here we go, getting ready for the race, guys. This is the Shah Alam Circuit, Batu Tiga. It's a track. It's a Malaysian track that used to be around, no longer around, unfortunately, sadly. You know, it was actually it was built in '69. You corrected me on that, wasn't it?
68.
68. Built in '68. It was redone in 1988 for MotoGP. They had Superbikes and MotoGP come there. And yeah, you know, we had, I think, good 10 years of awesome motorsports in the 90s there. Single seaters, Superbike. It's really good for local racing. I think people remember Saturday Night Fever that they've now recreated at Sepang. That's where it started in Shah Alam. But anyway, enough about that. Let's go back to the on-track action. We're following Alep Jantan.
Yes, Jabba is his real name. I did question some of the drivers in that particular team whether or not this is his real name. He said, of course not, but he was wanting to change, but unfortunately he's been locked in, so we'll just call him Alep Jantan. Real name,
Wow.
Jabba.
So a few of the names not exactly reflecting the right person. He comes through turn 7. This is a key part of the track. Good exit out of there will give you a good run down the back straight. It's the longest part of the track where you are flat out. This is, of course, the formation lap, everyone. Only 6 minutes for qualifying, so they should be able to get 2 or 3 laps in that 6 minutes. It's not a very long lap, is it?
No, this is of course the outlap, and the fastest these guys have set on the circuit so far that I've seen is a 123. So they're pretty much right on the ballpark of the 500cc times back when they rode here from the 80s all the way to 1997.
Oof, don't want to overtake there. It's a flat out corner. Yes, of course, just in case you guys have just tuned in, this is the copper class. After an hour of racing, we'll go to bronze, which will be racing similar cars, and then we'll get gold and silver coming up for the last round of races, which will be in the Jordan Formula 1 car of the 90s. But for now, back to qualifying. We're starting the lap, wow, what's that? Just following him closely.
That looks like
Fahmi.
Fahmi, yes. Fahmi is really close.
Yeah, but Fahmi doesn't realize this is qualifying. He needs a clean piece of track. He shouldn't be racing each other because you're just going to slow each other down.
Yeah, then again, that's why they're copper guys, because this is how they learn the rules of the trade, so to speak, because they just want to find out how to race, but at the same time, they will learn along the way what not to do.
Absolutely, that is the name of the game. Learning, that's what the copper class is, more of the inexperienced drivers. Yeah, bronze would be slightly more experienced, and then we got the pros in gold and silver.
Yep. And coming along this back straight, you mentioned about the Lucas Loop being remodeled in 88. It's actually about 85 because the World Sports Car Championship came here before. It's in 85 as well.
That is true.
Towards the end of the year, it's a non-championship race, but regardless, at least Malaysia had a slice of that original World Sports Car Championship flavor before we had the hypercars of today.
Yeah, that is true. Okay, Fahmi coming across, well, he's not coming across the line. He had that mix-up in turn 1, so this won't be his quickest lap of qualifying, I feel. But I think there will certainly be some quick laps later. Go.
Oh, that's a nice one.
Yeah, you got to use as much of the track as you can, as long as the in-game track limits let you get away with it.
And this was actually what they got away with in IRL as well, so it's actually fair game to jump over those curves. As Fahmi crosses the line, he takes provisional pole, 24.4. His teammate Jabat just behind him, he improved slightly despite having to give way. And yes, they were actually teammates because you can see the Biff Racing logo on the car, so they're riding different colors, but they are actually teammates.
Okay, well, this lap from Fahmi should be really good because as long as he doesn't get held up by any more traffic, because I think he's capable of getting the 23s.
And in fact, 23's not that far off because we got a gaggle of cars here that are actually quite close. This is Adri on the inside, a car off the track as well. Oh, that is quite close. That is really nip and tuck as he went to the side of one of the Indonesian guys. I'm not sure that's Audi Grunaha or Yuan Edo, but that is not what these guys want to do in qualifying.
Yeah, and Adrian, you can see in the inset, he's our youngest competitor in the eRacing GP, only 7 years old. Luckily, he managed to get a lap in. He's 5th quickest at the moment, 25.8, which is pretty good when you're 7 years old. He might be able to get one more lap after this.
Yep, but he's going to have to get those guys off his back because especially he's battling against still. There is actually Audi's actually right on the back of him. That's not what he wants at this point in time. As Fami's still on pole position, 24.4, 6/10 ahead of Reyes. So Reyes is still showing the same type of promise that he had from the previous round where he got a surprise podium, but we know who he's actually friends with. That's at the Nabil Aslan, so he's probably getting tips from him of how to drive around the circuit.
Of course, Nabil Aslan won gold in round 1. So yeah, it's always good when you buddy up and make friends because that's when you get the tips, really, isn't it? And that's really what happens, isn't it? I mean, you as a sim driver, Ammo, it is important having your teams and practicing with your friends, isn't it?
Yeah, indeed, and you've got really fast guys who can show you the way without having to, pay too much for just coaching because they're willing to give you a bit of tips, especially if you're coming through the lower classes. And by the time that, for example, if Reyes actually advances fast enough, he might just be going toe-to-toe with Nabil Sunu.
That's right. Ooh, we got a new guy. Well, Fami's improved his time. He's done a 24.0. That's a good time by him. And look, Valentino, second with 24.9 as well.
Ignatius
So on the front row.
Yep, but still 9/10 off because Fami just set a 24.0, so he went 4/10 faster that time around. He's almost a clear second ahead. This is another guy that we have to reckon jump up because we only allow a certain number of people changing as Ignatius then goes slamming into the barriers coming out of turn 8, the FNN bend, and that will be the end of his qualifying.
That's right. Here we are watching Darwish Sukimi, and you can see him in set there practicing. Everyone's racing from home or from their offices because this is an online championship. That's the beauty of this. And Darwish there goes. Does he improve? No, doesn't improve. Stays at 25.8.
Yep, 9,000s behind Jaden Ng, who's also a returnee into the championship. It's quite a good field, isn't it? It's actually a huge number of drivers, 21 for this particular round. But mind you, we had a big field last time out, so you can never say never. Some people might have been joining in quite late. It is a Friday evening, and a lot of people may just be trying to rush back to race back right now.
Yes, that's right. You see, that is the thing. Friday evening, people do rush back to try and get back in time after work and school. We've got 25 drivers here in Copper class. But yeah, I think it's quite set, isn't it? Fami Ismail on pole. Nice pole position, 24.0. That's a really good time for a Copper class.
And now, where is the rest of the other drivers that we are watching for? In fact, that's Afiq. Amir Afiq, he's in 4th place, so he's happy with that one. He did tell me earlier he could lap faster than this, so we'll wait and see what his race pace is like, as a couple of drivers get it wrong through the Rothmans corner. The chicane there might just be one of the most slippery, one of the most potentially difficult corners on the entire circuit, Alex.
Absolutely. And you just mentioned Amirul Afiq Fakhruddin. He did a 25.0 P5. He's dropped down one place because...
Naval, Setiawan has actually overtaken a lot of them. He's up to second for Team Techno, so that's nice to see. Naval also continuing his form from round 1. He'll be hoping that the races will go better for him.
Yeah, good lap by him. So it's pretty close grid there. Good top 10 or within a couple seconds from each other. Well, to be honest, top 14 or within a couple seconds of each other. So that's good competitive running from the Copper class. Qualifying is over. Quite a few of them all over the place now. Top 5, of course, score points from qualifying. And we'll have a couple-minute transition before race 1 starts.
Indeed. So I think it's safe to say that the competition may be very close in the midfield at the front because of Fami's really stonking qualifying lap. He's almost in the 23s, 24.0, and he had to do it within a very short space of time, about 6 minutes. That shows that he's got the bit between his teeth for this particular round.
I think you're right. I mean, I don't know what qualifying for bronze is going to be, but I can't imagine them 22s. Maybe I expect qualifying for bronze to be 23.0. So for Copper class to be 24.0, that's really good. Yeah, we should see nice competitive race. Let's see, just another 30 seconds before we start forming on the grid. You can see that this is, yeah, it's typical as we jump between the servers there. There are the boys. Royal Slanger, of course. Have to say thank you to our sponsors. You know, all our sponsors here for what we're doing. MEM, of course, Motorsport Association Malaysia. Life, we do our great T-shirts. Royal Slang will do our great trophies. I mean, there's some pretty nice trophies out there.
Indeed.
And of course, X Park, you know, also giving away prizes to people who win this championship.
Yep.
Of course, Axel Sports.
And
Yeah.
because we're the organizers behind it. And speaking of Rose Lango, there's the top of the banner. We can see it. The black trophies are of my personal favorite because I've got one myself from the 2019 edition. So
Yeah.
really nice to have in the collection to put and have pewter on the side. So
Yeah. Just in case you didn't know, Ammo raced in our first eRacing GP in here in Malaysia in 2019, and he finished third. Get some pretty serious competition. One of our top sim drivers here. And of course, coaching a lot of these copper drivers here this weekend as well.
And a couple of them are actually up in the front, so it's nice to see that they are going really well. But let's see. But qualifying is one thing, race is another, and we're waiting now for lights out here for another minute or so. The drivers get enough time to go to the bathroom, take a bit of a leak,
Yep.
and just make some tiny adjustments before they can really put the hammer in and try to win race number 1.
Okay, looking at the cars lining up, it looks like the correct cars are there. I wouldn't pay attention to the leaderboard. That looks like a bit of a bug. Because we know Amarul is not on pole position. He's in 5th. So, but the yellow car on pole, that is the correct car on pole. So, yeah. Half a minute to go.
Yep, 30 seconds left on the clock there on the top right. We're waiting for a while because a couple of drivers are still actually loading up onto the grid itself, so they have to do it before the time runs out, otherwise they'll be starting for the pits and having to get the controls locked. 10 seconds then, lights on the gantry will come out around the 5-second mark. You can hear the revs rising in the background then. On the inside will be Fahmi Ismail. The lights go on, and when they go out, race number 1 for round 2 in copper will be underway. A couple of drivers get a bit of a slow getaway there. They're going side by side through turn 1 is Nava Setiawan and Ahmad Fahmi Ismail, but the rest of the field then streamed their way through. A couple of people take to the grass. There's a few drivers. In fact, it's a big melee coming through turn 1. I'm pretty sure that Nabil Jalil was involved in one of them. I don't know who started it, but back up to the front. Nava Setiawan goes around the outside and takes the lead with a spin from Ahmad Fahmi Ismail. He got a bit pressured there and he cracked Alex.
Wow, I thought he was going to go. He's dropped out of the top 10 now, so Ismail has a long way to go to try and make up some places. But good job by Satyawan. He's really looking good right now, and he's just moving away at the front. So looking good there. Valentino, they're following him to 2nd, and Amarul Fakhruddin there in 3rd position.
Yep, and Amirul, of course, I did say earlier, he has high hopes for this one. He really wants to get that first win. There's a further driver spins behind that. Mohammed Rudy has actually dropped it, coming through the lucky strike corner, and there's many more drivers taking evasive action and hitting each other, including Adian Shah Rizki Gunawan trying to avoid another driver. Bang! That's one James Leong as well. There's a lot of things happening. We can barely describe all of it, but I'm pretty sure you can bet your bottom dollar that's what happens in copper. A lot of drivers are learning how to drive.
Yeah, we just watched on board Jaden Ung there from Hong Kong in P12. And look at that, Amarul there in P3 holding on. It's his second ever sim racing race, so doing a good job there. And of course, Adre then, 5th position. Great first lap by the youngster, the 7-year-old.
Yeah.
Doing a great job there. Hopefully he can keep his cool, maybe even sneak into the podium.
Yep, and we can say that he's actually a seasoned veteran because he's been doing this for the last 3 years or so since the pandemic started. And Adrian now is a seasoned veteran compared to Amir Rafiq, and Amir Rafiq actually loses it. As I said it, in fact, it's right. Actually, Reyes actually has dropped the position behind. So Amir Rafiq is now onto the podium. Adrian senses a bit of blood here. He wants to get in front of Reyes so that he could go after the podium runners.
Yeah, of course, let's not forget Adre there is only 7 years old. And there he is in the inset, the little fellow with his glasses. I think he was coached by Nakeem Aslan last night. I think that's helped him because he's looking very composed right now in P5. But let's look at the battle for P2, because P2 just ahead of us is getting very interesting.
Yep.
As, whoa, Amarul gets past.
Around the outside. He's around the outside coming out of the lucky strike corner. in front of Ignatius Valentino, and I think Ignatius may not have expected him to get that much grip on the outside, but he has been taking pointers from certain drivers on how to drive this, and he's putting it to good use.
Ooh, runs wide though, carries too much
Oh!
speed.
Is that Adri? I think that was Adri off. Yep,
Yes.
Adri spun it. Adri has dropped it coming into the Rothman's corner, and I did say earlier in qualifying that might be a point of contention, and guess what? A couple of drivers have actually found a kitty litter there.
Yep. Still got this big fight for P2 though, as Valentino gets back in front of Amaral, and it's a loud race to close the gap there in P4.
Yep, Reyes now actually has taken Adri
Nice.
off his advances as, whoa, he actually locks on the inside. He didn't want to take it too deep there because it's quite bumpy on the inside, and he's kind of paid the price for it. Oh, he's actually tapped the side of Ignatius and gets a second whack from Reyes. That might just be a penalty coming on his way afterwards.
Yeah, I think that looked a bit dodgy there. Just carried too much speed. I know he went on the grass before, but it's up to the drivers to have more care in those situations. Yeah, Amaral will probably get that. See Valentino protest. I'm sure he will.
Yep, but Valentino may not be fretting too much by that because he's still in the top 6, just a couple of seconds behind Audi Nevanugrunaha. That's quite a tough name, isn't it? Because that's quite a long couple of syllables. But Audi then, or Audi as he's called, he's with his fellow Indonesian, so they'll probably be working together to try and get up to the podium positions. As now the race is settling into a bit of a rhythm here as we are now reaching the final 10 minutes of this. It looks as though the early chaos has given way to somewhat of a lull, but that for most drivers is what they really want now, don't they, Alex?
Yeah, Setio 1 there. He's a happy guy, driving well. Last lap of 25.1. That's really good race pace. Nice and consistent. As he pulls away at the front.
Yep, definitely. He's now 2 seconds plus ahead of Amir Rafiq, but mind you, he's not carrying any ballast at all because he was actually outside of the top 10 in that first race, and he had a decent second race, just not enough to get the ballast, which is helping him out big time. As Jaden Ung now at the end of the top 10, battling with Darwish Sakimi. Darwish making his debut here today. Jaden onto the inside, and that's a clean move, but that might compromise both of them because further behind, that's Satna Rehan. He's actually aiming for one up here, but oh, Sakimi actually has gone off, so that eases up Rehan's job just a bit.
I was going to call it a tank slapper, but you don't like that, do you? You're calling him fishtails.
Yes, because that's a bike term.
Yeah.
Oh, lock up there from Johan Edo, and there through goes James Leong. We got battles all over the place as Reyes now is up to P3 in front of, no, actually, in fact, he's actually battling with Malik. So Malik Fakrul is his teammates with Amir Rafiq, and he's up to P4. That's quite nice to see. The two rookies of this season are competing quite well. Reyes has got his work cut out to actually deal with another guy as well, right immediately right behind him.
Okay, good stuff there. 2 cars, 3rd, 4th and 5th now cross the line. The line is all the way near turn 1, and that's because we got such a big grid today. We had to extend the start line. But it's nice to see so many drivers coming into race.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, 22 strong grid, that's still a good number here. Good turnout. Plus bronze, for example, is very oversubscribed, so we're going to see big numbers over there as Ignatius has a big lockup, and that allows Fahmi Ismail, our pole sitter for this race, to come up right behind him. So Fahmi then has done a good recovery job here. Well, spoke too soon about his racecraft though. He's taken out Ignatius Valentino, and Ignatius then runs into the side of Alip Jantan. So not only got taken out in the same corner twice in this race, he's also taken out yet another driver. So one penalty comes his way while he loses much more time from the collisions.
Yeah, and he might get a penalty for that. Unsafe re-entry after a spin. But I think Ismail's done a good job, other than that, of course, turn 7 incident, to go from outside the top 10 back up to 6.
Malik Fakrul being pushed out wide there, and it was not being pushed out because there was wheel-to-wheel contact. He had nowhere to go. Odi Deva Nugraha has actually gotten ahead of him, and he will gleefully take that. But Malik's on the inside. That might be an advantage for Malik, and he does. He was worried about brake bias prior to this. He may have gotten that particular part sorted. The car's more stable, and he gets through back up to P4, trying to chase after Muhammad Reyes. And it will be great to see the Paki Racing team get 2 drivers on the podium today.
Audi there, doing a good job. I'm going to call him Audi because you do a really good job with his surname. I'm going to struggle with that. But I think we're on board with him now into turn 3. It's quite a fast sweeping corner, turn 3. Really want to carry some speed. Then this one, turn 4, Electrolux Hill corner. Have to watch out for the bumps just at the apex. You can see all those bumps there before the little snake of corners onto turn 7 and back onto the back straight.
You can tell that it's quite bumpy because the suspensions travel quite a lot through those corners. So fixed setup, of course, they can't do anything with that, but you can see how much these cars have to work riding above these bumps, as Malik now is in the slipstream around the outside. Oh! That's a big one for Reyes. Why did he turn into him? Because you saw just now in the onboard that immediately there was a collision afterwards, so Reyes may have actually turned to the side of Malik, but somehow Malik actually managed to get through without any incident whatsoever.
I'm astonished that car's in one piece because there is a bit of damage on for Copper. I thought it'd be finished.
As meanwhile, up in front, Nalva Setewan actually is under pressure from Amir Rafiq. So Amirul has actually caught up to the back of Nalval. So he had a 2-second gap. Oh, he spun as well. Coming through Rothman's corner into the kitty litter. And that allows Malik to go through up to second. So 1-2 is actually the Paki Racing guys, with Nalval being taken out second time from Ahmad Fahmi Ismail. And that second time was on him because he tried to get back into the circuit. He rubs his hair in disbelief. He had the lead in hand. He's smiling now, actually. He's laughing about it. He's probably just seeing the light side of it. But truth be told, that was such a, such a schoolboy error. He did not have to do that.
Well, I love his attitude, smiling despite a really big mistake because he's thrown away the win. He was driving fantastically until that last lap. Obviously made one mistake to allow Amaral to get close in, and then another mistake with Amaral's challenging for the lead.
Wow, wait. And even despite out of all of that, they're actually close together now. Nalval, Ignatius and Muhammad Reyes, they're all 5th, 6th and 7th despite being involved with some cataclysmic accidents. They're still in the top 10, unbelievably. Ooh, they all ran wide there. That will allow the guys behind to actually sniff something of an opportunity. Jaden Ng and Muhammad Rudy also involved in accidents prior to that.
Onto the Lucky Strike corner here. It's amazing how strong this car is. Who's that? That's locked up. Someone's locked up just behind him.
Ignatius and Reyes also locked up there.
Yeah, Jaden Ng, I think, just locking up, but surviving for now.
Yep. And these cars can actually take a bit of a hit on the tires before they start developing really bad flat spots. So luckily for them, it would not be too bad. But if they do that too often and go on the same point of the tires, that's when they're going to start feeling in the fillings of their teeth.
Okay, Rudy looking down the back of him. Someone's again locking up. So a lot of drivers making mistakes now as we get towards the tail end of this race.
Yep, Ignatius Valentino actually was locking up that time around, so he's probably having a bit of damage after whacking also the side of Ahmad Fahmi Ismail. Locks up into turn 1 as well. He is under a severe amount of pressure then from the guys behind, including Reyes, Jaden Ng and Rudy. But the 3 guys are battling against each other, so that might actually free up some space for Ignatius to just at least get away from them just a bit.
Going for the switch back there, going wide. Can he switch back? Someone's blocking the car in front. No, not able to do it just yet.
Yep, just about held on there is Muhammad Reyes. Oh, they all go off then. Again, a lot of drivers actually finding the grass on the outside, coming onto the back straight. And it's Rudy, Jaden Ng, and Muhammad Reyes battling for what's just P7, but this is the most important P7 they can ever feel in their lives because it offers a huge amount of points in race 1. Race 2 will be much lesser, of course, so they want to get a good amount of points here, as well as at least a decent starting point in race number 2. And out of all of that, Jaden manages to still hold on to P7. Ignatius Valentino inching away in front of them. Reyes and Rudy still battling each other.
Wow, good stuff. Also, we should go back to the battle. There's a battle there brewing from P2.
Yep.
And
3.5 minutes left to go between Fahmi, Malik, and Audi Devon.
Oh!
Oh, Malik spins, and he actually accidentally takes out Ahmad Fahmi Ismail. Audi then, despite out of all of that, gleefully takes second place away from both of them.
Wow, Fahmi Ismail's been so unlucky this race. He is the pole sitter, don't forget. Got taken out in that first lap. Was looking like he was going to come through the second and got taken out again. Although this one I thought was a bit innocent. I think Malik just made a small mistake.
Yep, that's pretty much a racing incident, is it? Because Fahmi just had no time to avoid anyway.
Actually, Fahmi made a mistake on lap 1, didn't he?
Yes.
He didn't get taken out. Lap 1 he made a mistake at turn 4, and that's what put him out the top 10 on lap 1. Okay, well that's exciting. It's still happening. Action's happening with only 2.5 minutes left to go.
Yep. as Deva Nugraha is up to second at the moment, about a second ahead of the other two behind him. We look at Adrian now. Adri, he's also been in the wars. He had that big mistake coming through Rothman's corner, and he did get taken out as well. Around the outside of Sevata Rehan. Sevata then, no way to answer that particular time, and Adri gets up to P9. So now he sets his sights on that trio of drivers battling for P7, and he will be licking his lips that he'll get an opportunity to actually recover some lost points.
Nice, good racing, good recovery.
Meanwhile, up in front, we're actually jumping back and forth between some battles here because there's a lot of battle packs forming due to the spread out nature of after a few incidents that have been caused here. We're looking at Malik Fakrul, who dropped it just the previous lap into turn 1. He also inadvertently accidentally took out Ahmad Fahmi Ismail, but Ahmad Fahmi Ismail is back up to 3rd place behind Odi Deva Nugraha. And Deva Nugraha will probably be thinking that he will be running his luck a bit, trying to hold on for his first ever podium in eRGP. All to play for then between the drivers on the final positions on the rostrum. Looking further behind then, Muhammad Rudi manages to hold off. Well, actually, at one point, Muhammad Reyes, but Reyes has actually dropped out of the top 10, so he might have made a mistake outside of our cameras. But whatever it is, he is about half a second ahead of Adrian Ahmed. We're running on board with Jaden Erg. Behind Ignatius Valentino, the slipstream is absolutely powerful in these cars. And around the outside goes Jaden for the FSA Racing team. On the inside of the Balapan Random Motorsports car of Ignatius Valentino. And Ignatius then gives out the position just for now, but he goes for the switchback, coming onto the exit of the Lucky Strike corner. Side by side they go, but Jaden has a better run out of that, and he takes away P number 6 from Ignatius Valentino. As we are now entering the final lap then, Amirul Afiq Muhammad Fakhruddin will be coming through as race leader, and he will be absolutely vindicated that he feels that after what happened last time where he had a couple of disconnection problems, he's taken the win here outright and on outright pace in race 1, Alex.
Okay, and I hope you haven't given him the commentator's curse, because we're only at turn 5 and there are 14 corners on this lap, so he's still got more than half the lap to go. Yeah, but what a good job by him. You can see him insert there. There he is, focused to try and complete that lap, which will be his first win. Actually, first time he's on the podium.
First, a couple of firsts for him as well. And there's something happened to Ahmad Fahmi Ismail. He's actually dropped out of the top 10 once again, and he was also involved there with Odi Deva Nugraha actually as well. So they might have actually had a collision together, and the worst one that came out of that was Fahmi Ismail. His car's completely bonked. He is out of the top 10 altogether. He'll be left ruined with that one, despite starting on pole position for this race. But we're not going to focus on that for now. We're focusing on the front here with Amir Afiq, who actually was involved in a bit of an incident prior to that, taking out Nalva Setiawan prior to this, but he will not be looking back. He'll be looking forwards, coming through the Rothmans curve. He is going to take his first ever win in eRGP Global Edition. He's not going to weave. He doesn't want to crash the car on the final lap. Comes across the line, takes the win. He doesn't know about it. I think a bit of a smile there. He wakes up. Yes, he knows it. The Jasmine Jafar lookalike is looking really happy right now.
Jasmine. Awesome. Very, very good. Fantastic result. And you can see how pleased he is. Whoa, great job by Amarul. And his teammate, Malik Fakrul, finished second. Setiawan third.
Both of them are racing at the Academy, of course, so another 2 stars in the making. They are absolutely over the moon right now. They've got Potty in the Academy, I can sense right now, with Nalva Setiawan in third. Jaden with an impressive 4th after dropping out of the top 10 multiple times throughout this entire race. Ignatius Valentino 5th. Adri 6th. Odi will be a bit disappointed after being involved in that last lap incident with Fahmi. He'll be starting further up because in race 2 he's 7th. Savata Rehan 8th. 9th Muhammad Rudi, and 10th, I don't know where Mika Zariz Iqbal will be on pole position for race number 2.
That's awesome. Great job there. Great races. Of course, we have to be a bit careful because I think there will be some protests. There was quite a bit of contact up and down the field, and I'm sure we will be seeing some of the protests later. Don't know who's fastest lap, but really good job there by all concerned.
Yep. Wow.
Should we try and... No, we can't talk to Amarul, can we? Because he's... I don't think he's
yeah, his microphone's a bit muted right now, so I don't think we get to even interview him. Maybe we could get him prior to the start of Bronze to just come over here and give him a bit of a slight talk. But apart from that, Is it?
Yeah.
It's quite a nice appetizer for what's to come.
Absolutely. Of course, there is, of course, one more race to go, guys. That's only race 1 for Copper. There's 2 races. And we've got a reverse grid race 2 coming up in just a moment. As there's I don't know how many minutes it takes, actually, does it? In between races? A couple minutes.
Yeah.
Because they have to set the grid again for race 2.
Indeed. So, I think with that, we might go to a bit of a slight commercial break before we come back. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors.
Welcome back to eRacing GP Global Edition 11. We are at round 2 of 4. My name's Alex Young. With me is Amo Hazik. And of course, there are 4 categories today. We've got the copper class. We're in the middle of the copper class, about to go to race 2. Got bronze coming up later. And then we've got gold and silver combined coming up at 10 o'clock tonight.
Yep, and that will be one for like the nostalgia folks, and also the fact that we can sort of anachronistically go back in time a bit, because the car is contemporary along with the circuit, but both never happened because
Yes.
the Jordan 191 never raced there. But we can almost have a bit of a whimsical feeling of how it would have gone.
Absolutely. We're doing single seaters this time. So that's why we've gone with the Jordan for gold and silver. But if we were doing sports car, we would definitely have done the old Group C cars, wouldn't we?
Yes.
That would have been fun indeed.
Yeah, especially with the Porsche 956 or the 962s. As now we're gonna also give a shout out to our sponsors who have made this all possible. MAM, of course, sanctioning the entire championship. Nice to have them on board to do the stewarding as well. Life Apparel, who made these nice shirts, as you can see it was on the side here. Soroa Slango made the trophies for the guys at the end of the season, the plaques and the pewter trophies, along with the gold and bronze and silver on the top to denote that. They'll make the trophies for those guys. And of course, Xbox, who made this the facilities for us to actually do the commentary. So shout out to them as well. And of course Axel, because we organized the entire championship.
Well, that's
so,
us.
Yep. Shout out to the sponsor boys. Without this, it won't be possible.
Absolutely.
Now then, we are on the grid for race number 2. We're actually taking a bit of a while here because you know, there's in between periods where some people would like to go for a bit of a short pee period, or they just go for a bit of a drink, then come back to start race number 2 proper.
Okay, and of course we've got Mika Iqbal on pole. One of your favorite drivers, I have to say, because you do a lot of coaching with him as well.
And of course, is one thing key thing to mention. He also is autistic, but he has really good car control. So it's quite nice to see that in sim racing, there's no barrier of entry. Anyone can enter, and if they have the passion for it.
And that's what I love about esports in general, is you do have that. Because, you know, a lot of people are competitive. They love to get involved in sports, but they're unable to, I don't know, financial reasons or physical reasons. But at least with esports, you can go ahead and do it.
Yep.
All right, race is about to start.
10 seconds to go then on the gantry. Lights will come out around the 5-second mark with Mika Iqbal Zares on pole position, Mohammed Rudy right beside him. The lights are on, and when they go out, we're on the way for race number 2, and Mika didn't get the best of starts there because Rudy around the outside sweeps through and takes the lead away. Nava Setiawan then is in the middle of that pack in P7. He'll be hoping to actually avoid the most of the carnage like what happened in race 1, but I think, Alex, race 2 has gone a bit smoother compared to race 1.
Absolutely, as they come through the corners right now. Ooh, bit of carnage there.
Oh, no, it's actually Amir Rafi's involved in that one.
And well.
And yes, Ahmad Fahmi once again. Oh, those two actually were involved in the wars in race number 1. As Fahmi goes into the side of him, you can see his steering control. He's involved in yet another accident. Luckily, he got away with that one. But Alex, the pole sitter from race 1 and the winner of race 1 got involved in that one.
Oh, and then they are going wide again. Okay, so, well, they're coming together again, but they're 19th and 18th and 19th position. So they got a lot of work cut out for them to try and finish into the points. But we should go back to the front and see what's happening, because right now it's Rudy there still leading the race from Mika Iqbal. with a Valentino in third.
Yep, and Rudy got the best job out of that because he was on the racing line, of course. So the racing line is actually applied here as well. So amazingly, he despite being in second place, he had a better run coming to turn 1 off the line. And now Mika's just playing catch up here. But we're only at the end of lap 1, and we saw last time, a couple of seasons ago, how Mika also fought with that one, managed to win in his first ever race around Sonoma.
Okay. Watching Setio 1 there in P6. See, he also was another driver that didn't really get the result he should have got, because we saw how quick he was in qualifying. But now he is in P6, out down to P5. Good overtake there on Adre. And Setio 1's got the pace, really. He could actually end up winning this race.
Indeed. Oh, you spoke too soon there, Alex. You had the commentator's curse right on cue, and he's going to get whacked the second time as well by James Leong. But luckily, that contact actually faced him the right way that time.
He should try and get out of the kitty litter. There's more traction on the black stuff. Okay, now he's on the black stuff. P11, it's up, and then he's... Oh, dear, he'll be kicking himself.
And you have to remember, because the tires actually, if they take a spin, they overheat. So that they simulated quite well in the Santa Corsa, as Ignatius Valentino that is next to challenge Mika Zares Iqbal, and Mikael has to give up that way. Mika had to give up the position because he doesn't want to fight too hard. For the time being, he's still on the podium, and it's still early days, so he can still regroup back, because you never know what's going to happen in Copper. A lot of things happen in that first race, mind you.
Yeah. P3 there. Let's see if he can just keep... He just needs to keep it calm, cool and calm, and he often does that. And the race will come to it, because you think 15 minutes is not a long race, but still a lot can happen in 15 minutes.
And we can attest to that after what happened in race 1, as Mika now has to hold on to the inside. Good defense there against Odi Demanugraha, and manages to maintain third for the time being. But Odi then, he'll be kicking himself as well after what happened in the end of race number 1, where he got involved with Ahmad Fahmi Ismail at the end of turn number 2. That cost both of them podiums, so he wants to avoid having the same fate here in race number 2.
Iqbal there. Then we've got Adre Amit, a young 7-year-old. We need to go further back as well and see what's happening to the other fast guys, because...
Oh, Sevata Rehan got taken out there by Ahmad Fahmi Ismail. So Ahmad Fahmi then involved in so much incident for this round. He'll be wishing that he'll get to Spa after this, so that he could actually get away from it all.
Yes, he's not had a... He's had a very... Oh, is that someone off?
Alip Jantan, yeah, that's Jabat. Jabat's into the barrier, so he's been involved in the wars as well. As we're on the back straight here, Malik Fakrul's also been dropping like a stone after the end of race number 1. He was in 9th place because he did finish second in that first race. He's battling with Savata Rehan. Savata on the inside, Malik on the outside, or is he going to get the position? No, in fact, it's Nabil Jalil who's actually overtaking him. So Nabil is up to P16. They're batting for fringe positions, and it's not even for points, because points in race 2 go all the way to the top 10.
Yep. Okay, well, looking for like he's challenging second position into turn 1.
Oh, he's got a pace back on him.
Oh, he's got back. He's in P3. Looks to the outside, not able to get through just that.
Oh no, in fact, that's actually Mika fighting against Odi Devanugraha, because Ignatius actually gotten the drop on Mika, so it's about 3.6 seconds now between himself and Mika. So he's fighting to hold on to the podium here in front of Odi. So Odi then lining one up, trying to find a way through, and further behind Adrian Min, just about a second behind here, watching brief in case something happens between these two.
And I think something's definitely going to happen as they get really close. Pulls out the slipstream. He'll be on the inside for this next right-hander, but will he be far enough for this next left-hander? Because he'll be on the outside for the left-hander.
Yes, outside of the right-hander even, in fact. So
yeah, goes round. Well done.
So Mika then fights back. He actually goes immediately for a cutback here, but no. Audi actually held on to that quite well, and that allows Adrian to come into the back of them. You can see here how powerful the slipstream is in these cars, isn't it? Yeah. They don't have the turbulence of the pre-2022 cars for F1, so they can literally slip out to the back and just dive one on the inside. But for the time being, at least, due to the tight nature of certain corners on the circuit, you're going to have to do it on the straights.
Iqbal just hitting the rev limiter a couple times, so maybe with his close racing, he's just letting the revs get a little bit too high, and that will upset his forward acceleration down the straight.
Oh, something happened to Ignatius Valentino. Ignatius has actually whacked the barriers coming out of turn 2. He's spun it. So that has given the opportunity for the rest of those guys to pick up a position.
Wow. I wonder if that was by himself or if that was contact, because it was quite far down the straight. Oof, but he's struggling with the overheated tires. You were just talking about ammo. He just needs to let the tires cool down before he starts pushing.
Yep, and that's what he needs to do. He doesn't want to overdrive to cause more heat into those tires and just lose any valuable grip that he has left there. So he just needs to hang on to that one for the time being. And speaking of hanging on, Mikael Ibal is fighting with Adrian. Adrian on the outside. I thought he was going to go off there, coming into the lucky strike corner. He was on the, well, there's no marbles in this game, but if he goes outside there, he could easily have gone off, but hangs on to that like a rodeo and manages to keep 4th place for the time being. In fact, it would become 3rd because Mika gave him a lot of space coming through with Lucas Luke.
Coming through the Rockmans now. Both drivers just about hanging on there. Ooh, Adrian looks like he's made 3rd position his own now. Go down.
For the time being, yes. And the fact that Odi is not that far away from them as well, 1.7 seconds. And if Odi actually has the pace, he might just fancy his chances against his fellow countryman Muhammad Rooney. As Adrian locks up big time, Mika right behind him, fancies his chances. He'll try to send one here, coming through turn 3. No, he wouldn't want to do that too deep. He has to give a bit of space. So luckily, both of them are still going at it here. They do not want to end up throwing away potential good points today.
I'm still touching the rev limiter every once in a while on the gear changes. Just needs to change up just a little bit earlier.
Well, he's shifting right on the red line. You kind of hear it if the car starts stepping out, then yes, that will be a bit late.
Yeah.
Just a bit late, I reckon.
Tiniest margins. But he's got the slipstream now. Will he look to the inside into Lucky Strike corner? I think he will. Ooh, brakes early, decides to get out of it.
And you can see Adri there. He knew that there was enough room, so he just cuts across to stall any momentum that Mika might have had coming through there. Because we know this section of the track really encourages good racing, Alex.
Yeah. And then we go, Fahmi Ismail in the top 10, back into the top 10 after another incident-filled race. Gosh, this driver has had the pace to have won at least one race today, and to being outside the top 10 in race 1 and nowhere in race 2 still has gotta hurt.
Indeed. He knows full well that he might have been getting the 49-point sweep here if he had the opportunity, but unfortunately it would just be fringe points for the time being. As Fares then, Fakro Fares, another Fakro in this race, but not related to Malik. He's around the inside with Fahmi on the outside. Fahmi just can't get through that time. He didn't have momentum, but the opportunity presents itself as Fakro goes off into the grass, and that also allows Ardiansha Rizky Gunawan to come through.
Okay, so hopefully he can pick up some more points. Still 5 minutes to go. So Fahmi Ismail there, I think he's got the pace to snag a couple more positions before the end of the race.
Yep, but maybe a bridge too far because we have only 5 minutes left, and the next guy in front of him is Muhammad Rais, which is about 1.5 seconds away. He'll have to tick him off first and then try to catch up to the rest of the top 6 in order to stand any chance of at least trying to get into the top 5. Further behind, we're trying to give some love for drivers who have actually fallen by the wayside somewhat, with the likes of Jaden Earn, who is fighting with Nabil Jalil. Nabil, who had a very good race, round number 1, hasn't had the best of round 2s either, so he will put this into the bin. In fact, Nabil was outside of that top 10. He finished 11th. Could have been on pole position, would have made his day much better, but unfortunately just missed out by only a couple of seconds behind because Aris Iqbal. Looking at James Leong then, who is sawing away at the wheel actually. You can see how much he was literally turning there coming through the chicane. That might not be the most advisable thing to do, isn't it, Alex?
Yeah, a little bit tense, isn't he, when he... looks okay now, looks better now, but you're right, he was certainly soaring at the wheel earlier on. Don't really want to do that too much, doesn't translate well to real life. A lot of these guys want to go real life racing at one point, and for real life racing you really need to be super, super smooth.
Indeed, and not telling much in the lap times because he's still matching lap times with Ignatius Valentino. It takes a bit of a fishtaily evasive action to let the rear come back around, coming through turn 4, 5, 6 and to 7. Luckily, he didn't lose too much time, just only about 2/10. As further behind, Nauval takes to the kitty litter once again.
Yeah, looks like a carbon copy of what he did about 5 minutes ago.
Indeed. And he's now battling with a few other drivers of his kin, which is a fellow countrymen, the likes of Safata Rehan. And behind him is oh no, that's actually Malik. So I thought it was another Indonesian there. But either way, Naval has had a second race to forget. Podium in the first race. Now he's just fighting for fringe positions and points. He's just one position away to get the points here. Yogi Prasetyo is actually in front of him. So Yogi then holds the key to at least getting 1 point out of this race.
A lot of Indonesians here today. Good to see them.
Good to see them back. Actually, we haven't had the best of representation for the Indonesians in the last few seasons. Someone actually has gone off. It's James Leong. James Leong has actually dropped it coming into the Rothman chicane. So we saw the previous lap how he was sawing at the wheel. Now he has actually taken the full brunt of an entire spin and a bit of a collision on the way out.
But yes, like you said, good to see the Indonesians back. Race Room doesn't seem to be quite as popular with Indonesians as, say, Assetto Corsa or R Factor 2. But yes, good to see him. Plenty of representation from our neighbouring country.
Yep, so Rupun as we call it, as Naval now is up to P10 after, well, in fact, who has actually gone off at the P10? In fact, it's Safata Rehan. Oh, Naval nearly goes on to the Kitolita for the third time, and look at that. Prasetyo is actually, in fact, no, Yogi is actually on the position. Oh! Naval has actually been taken out. Prasetyo was recovering from a slight spin, and that's it. That's all she wrote.
Yeah, that looked like a racing incident to me. But yeah, not his day, despite having good pace. Unfortunately, that just happens in motorsports. You know who we haven't seen a lot of lately? The leader.
Yep, Muhammad Rudi. He's well and truly the clear bona fide leader at the moment. 2 minutes left to go, so he's got about 2 laps to complete here to get his first ever win in ERGP as well. So we got 2 first-time winners in Copper. It's almost a given, isn't it? Because there's a lot of drivers who are new here. So we'll be hearing a lot of first-time winners coming out of our ends to just say that, yep, these guys are making a name for themselves in the bottom tier, but make no mistake, the competition is still intense.
And I have to say, Rudy's, okay, this last lap was a 25.3 if you look at the bottom, but the lap before he was in the 24s. And see a Copper classes drivers in the 24s in the race pace is very impressive.
Very encouraging to see, because we know that the bronze guys can do 23, so there's a bit of a natural progression to that. So nobody's too fast compared to what happened last time with Ramdani and Jasmine Tan.
I do like the livery of this car though.
Yeah, the Biff racing car.
Blue and yellow works quite nicely.
It looks a bit like a Michelin car, actually. You know, like those schools where they had Michelin's track days, right? It looks exactly like this for Alim Jantan or Jabat. Coming out to the back of Malik.
Yeah, Malik Fakro there, who finished second in race 1. Hasn't had a very good race, but hanging on at P11 at the moment.
Yep, and speaking of his teammate, whatever happened to Amirafi P20, he's actually really gotten an absolute mare in race number 2. There's Yuan Edo further behind. In fact, there's Amirafi going for a spin for a second time, so wrong time to be on camera then for him, as something happened to Mika Zariz Iqbal. He has actually dropped to P5. So, in fact, Ignatius Valentino, despite crashing into the barriers while in second place, has gotten up to P3 now, so he's recovered back onto the podium. As Ahmad Fahmi Ismail, likewise, has actually recovered all the way up to P6. So, for a guy who's been in the wars through World War I, II, and the Cold War, he's actually come back strong.
Yeah, our pole sitter in qualifying. Good to see him back into the points.
Right, final lap then. We're on with Muhammad Rudi. So, Rudi then, this will be a sign of things to come, isn't it? Because we did see him perform quite well in ERGP round 1 for Global Edition 11. It's nice to see that he's coming on strong here. In fact, where did he finish in the first race of the season? No, in fact, he actually was not even in the race.
Yeah.
So this is a debut for him.
Wow.
And it's a debut win as well, to put that into perspective, Alex.
Good job there by Rudi. Just lapped someone, and he is on the final lap. If you look at that, leader is on the final lap. So coming through the last corner, not last corner, one of the last corners, Lucas Loop, and then into the real last corner, Rothman's last 2 corners. Used plenty of curb as he comes across the start-finish line.
Yep, Rudi then didn't even have to worry about what happened to the guys behind. He had a good start off the line, never looked back, and he will take his first ever win in ERGP Global Edition with, you can safely say, fists aloft, proverbially, because he's definitely going to celebrate that one. Second place then, We didn't see much of him either, apart from a few battles. Odi Devanugraha, he's in second, his best ever finish in the GP, along with Ignatius Valentino. A case of what might have been had it not been for that accident coming through turn 1 and 2. Fourth is Adrian Ahmed. Fifth is Mikazari Iqbal. He'll be happy with that one after a very decent race one. Ahmad Fahmi Ismail, he'll be very disappointed with the accidents that he's had. James Long 7th. Ardian Shah Gunawan in 8th. 9th is Malik, amazingly how he actually recovered to that. And 10th is Alip Jantan, it's Jebat, despite being in the wall as well. So,
Yeah.
great racing.
Yeah, good race. And now that's it. The copper class is done and dusted. We got bronze coming up, and we'll come to bronze right after these messages from our sponsors. And yeah, don't go away. Okay, we're back. We've just had the copper class. This is eRacing GP Global Edition 11. Like I said, we've just had the copper class. My name's Alex Young, and this is Amr Hazik. And we got bronze class coming up now. They are actually in practice.
Yep.
But let's talk about the track we're racing at today.
Yep, the Shah Alam Circuit, the former Shah Alam Circuit. We have brought it back from the dead virtually for this one. And glad to say, it has served us quite well in terms of races today. It was exciting, so can't wait to see what's going to happen in both bronze, which always delivers, by the way, and in the gold and silver class after this. 3.6 kilometers, just a whisker under 3.7 because of the extension going through the Lucky Strike corner. It used to be 3.5, but it was just added by about 100 meters in 1985, clockwise, and it has the same number of corners as Sepang, incidentally.
Yeah, actually, no, it wasn't increased by just 100 meters. It was actually increased by, I think, more than 300 meters, because I think it used to be a 3-kilometer track and went up to 3.5 or 3.3, I think. I don't think it was just increased by just under 50 meters. Okay, so anyway, let's go have a look at what it is to drive around the track. Here's a hot lap by me. Okay, here we are at the Shah Alam Motorsport Paradise, also known as SAMP. This is the Batu Tiga track as we go through the last couple corners onto the start-finish straight. 3.5 kilometers, 14 corners. It's built in 63, renovated in 88 for Grand Prix bikes, which it ran for 10 years. Now braking for turn 1. Third gear, use the apex through turn 1. Easy flat through turn 2 onto this medium length straight. Now turn 3 is kind of interesting. You brake just as you turn in. And don't brake too late. Oh, I've braked too late because these cars have a lot of grip. Now turn 4, we're in Lechlux Hill. You can see the hill on the left of us. This is where all the crowds used to be for GP bikes and also local racing. We used to get good local racing here. Now out of turn 7, got to get a good exit out of there, which I didn't, because it leads onto the long back straight. It's not really a straight, got quite a few corners. Now this used to go straight here, but in 88 when they renovated the track, they produced the Lucas Loop, which is this right-hand bend to try and make the length of the track long enough for GP bikes. From 6th down to 3rd, try and get some curb on the left-hander, good exit there. Then this 90-degree right, never really had a corner, turn 11, get a good exit out of there before coming to this long right-hander, double apex. just about flat in the Tatus. It won't be flat in the Jordan. Before coming to the last couple of corners on the track. This is Rothman's corner, turn 13 and 14. Get a good exit out there, use plenty of the curb. In real life, those curbs are that big as well. Well, not real life, because this track doesn't exist anymore. And that's a lap, the Shah Alam Motorsport track. Okay, well, there's a lap. Now let's go away from what we're talking about. We're going to talk about the track. Let's focus on bronze class and see what bronze did in round 1.
Muazzam Zari was the most dominant driver in that particular one. He had a win and was clear ahead of Chris Chong, but Chris Chong had to really fight with Alia Wafi Priyanatha in race number 2. He could have had more points there, but it was a great, really close finish. So we're waiting to see if bronze is going to offer the same thing here today as well. The likes of Cameron James and Muhammad Hakimi as well with the guys to watch out for after this.
Yeah, okay, so let's have a look at the on-track action. You can see some of the cars going. There's only a minute of practice left to go. We're on board with Muhammad Hakimi. Yeah, this is key time, isn't it? What are they doing in this practice session? Because of course they've been practicing all week.
Yep. It's I think a bit of race pace as well, because you don't know how much the tires will last for the entire race. These Tatus cars, somehow the tires, even on medium, can go off towards the end of the race by around 3 minutes left to go. They only can last 12 minutes apparently. So really, then you start seeing yellow. Like the indicator go yellow means it's dropping off the cliff.
Right. So we're going to see some of these drivers maybe being a bit cautious. Look, we've got some onboard stuff there with Hakimi. That's really nice. I love that shot. So they're going to have to be quite careful, aren't they, to look after the tires, make sure they can last a full 15 minutes.
Absolutely. And also another thing to worry about is not crashing actually, because these cars, especially in this game, the damage can be quite sensitive, and it is really detrimental to how you drive. If you even have a slight damage on the wing, even a yellow wing is enough to give you understeer. Right.
And of course, we had 40% damage for copper, but these guys are a little bit more experienced here in bronze class, so the damage has gone up 60%. They can still get away with a bit of carnage, but not too much.
Indeed, but as we saw in race number 1, is in the round 1 as well. In fact, it still can happen even in the bronze class.
Yeah. Well, let's see what happens. We saw quite an eventful copper class, a lot of small little damages, lots of small little knocks. Bronze will be coming up now. Qualifying now. Do you think we'll see someone doing a 23-0? Maybe even into the 22s?
No, 22s is a bit impossible. We tried already. It could be possible if you really push it, but 23s is the fastest that we can definitely see with these cars and on this track.
Okay. Well, let's go to qualifying now. All the drivers are on out laps, as you can see. 6 minutes for qualifying, and see all of them bunching up on the out laps. We should see the drivers trying to find a little bit more space, because you don't really want to race each other.
Yeah,
slow each other down.
Indeed, it's quite weird how these guys immediately go out thinking that there will be space for them when you have to make the space, either by driving faster than the other guys just to stretch out ahead, or they could just back it off a bit and just give yourself space. But again, we got so many drivers here tonight. In fact, it's 33 cars. It's almost the equivalent of the Indy 500.
Wow.
It's a good turnout here tonight, Alex.
Yeah, but okay, that's a very good turnout. That's the biggest turnout we've had from Global Edition 11 so far. I think we've had 36 cars in a few races race room. But yeah, for center course, this is a great turnout. It's gonna be okay. I'm gonna change my mind here. I'm gonna say it's gonna be a bit of carnage in these two races. And we often get the best racing in bronze, don't we?
Yes, because these guys are kind of like the intermediate in between some of the guys who are actually really proficient drivers and some of the guys who are just starting out in this particular class. So we're just waiting in anticipation right now how this will go.
Okay, so drivers across the line. Which driver do you want to look out for?
I think I'll look out for guys like Ricky Satria, Muhammad Hakimi. Those are the guys to watch out for in this one. And take nothing away as well, Jasmine Tan is actually a driver that I'm interested to see how he can perform after literally smoking in copper. So really then, great to see that some of these are guys who are fast in round number 1 in copper can make it also in bronze in round 2.
And of course, Joshua Nabus, that's another driver I want to watch as well. He should be quick too.
Quality specialist, as just further behind it, there was a car spinning onto the grass. But yes, Nabuz is also another guy to watch out for because it was Arman Hashim that spun, so he's gone back to the pits along with Michael Velasquez. Joshua Nabuz, qualifying specialist, he still has that record of 5 consecutive pole positions in between 2 seasons. So he had pole for the entire season and then some by the next one. So he's also another guy that we really need to keep an eye on if he could actually retain that pole record.
Yeah, and he's been getting better with his racing as well, because we saw him put it on pole a lot, but then didn't really have the best races. Seems to be a bit more consistent now, doesn't he?
Indeed. He's managed to convert those poles into wins, and it's like in penalties. You don't want to sky the shot, you want to actually keep it in underneath the goalpost, and that's how he's actually done it. He's managed to compose himself and really drive quite well in races now, as we're finally getting the times in now. Jasmine Tan on pole position, 24.2. Bradley Martin's 3 times behind him. That's very close. Who's that in third? Jonathan Teals. Jonathan Teals actually up to third, but now has been taken over by Nabuz, 24 flat. But Ramdani, 23.5. The first 23 here tonight.
And Ramdani was in copper in round 1. We bumped him up to bronze because he was too quick. And I think that was a good move. 23.5. Fastest lap we've seen so far tonight.
Indeed. Nabuz has got back to the pits. He's gotten a bit of a challenge here tonight as a few other cars go to Barry out of turn 4. Wow, game on. We actually have this is a really good fight before. In fact, we have Jaden Chia as well up to P2. So
I tell you what,
fight.
Ramdani's looked really impressive through this 4, 5, 6 sequence of corners. And he's got some some traffic. If he can clear this traffic, I think he can go even faster than 23.5 he did before.
Indeed. But, lock up. No, that's not going to do it. That is definitely going to ruin his lap. He's got 1 more lap to go. He can't go back to the pits now. Whatever happens here, he's going to have to give himself some space in order to actually set another lap. He's still going for it though, Alex.
He's going to get a big slipstream here through the Lucas Loop. Gosh.
He backed it off. He had to back up. You can see the flames. He's into the barriers and out of the race.
Okay.
In fact, out of the qualifying session.
Well, if he has a quick outlap, maybe he can... no, I'm not sure if he's got enough time. We have to watch for Jaden Tan, I think. Jasmine Tan, sorry. And Joshua Nabuz. I think those are the guys that could perhaps go a little bit quicker.
In fact, we're kind of vindicated right now that we actually bumped out a couple of guys to the higher class, because those 2 guys who were first and second in copper are first and second now in bronze.
Yeah, definitely the right call. Look at that. Both of them on a 23.5. That's incredible.
1,500 separating between themselves. So, wow. Game on then. We got a few drivers who are quality specialists in bronze now. Yeah.
Wow, it's really good to see. I mean, bronze, you get serious drivers in bronze. And I can see a few of them from what I've seen so far. I think we might bump them up to silver by the end of the season.
And that's the end of Jasmine's qualifying there, so he's gonna stay in second no matter what. Ramdani actually went out of the pits just in time before the time is struck to at least around 125, because it is a 123 lap. So it's gonna be, yes, it is an outlap, so he's gonna cross the line just in time to start 1 more lap.
Yeah, let's follow Nabuz then. Nabuz in P4. He's capable of getting pole position. If you know if he's up or down on his lap.
No, he's on an outlap, but I don't think he has enough time to even cross the line. So he's through the final sector now, but I don't think he has the time compared to Ramdani. Ramdani is actually on course here for yet another lap. In fact, yes, he has enough time to do 1 more, so he's prepared to increase the gap here between himself and Jasmine Tan. So Jasmine will be ruining the fact that he made that mistake coming out to the Lucky Strike curve.
Okay, let's watch on board Ramdani. Here he goes for P3. Looks a lot nicer than my lap I did. I went really wide at this corner. Now for T4. Very easy to overcook it in this corner, but he looks like he's got it just right. You don't really want to run the curve there, do you? So he just got it just nice. Out through turn 7. Oh, that looks good. Good exit. Sweet. We can't tell if he's up or down, but from what I've seen so far, this is certainly good enough to go a bit quicker than the 23.5 he did earlier.
Yeah, indeed. And he would just increase that yardstick a bit between himself and Jasmine and say, look at this, new class, but I'm still first. So Ramdani was in pole position that previous round as well. So really, then where's he going to gain the time or lose the time?
He braked a bit early for Lucky Strike. Remember the lap before he braked too late and locked up the wheel? He braked a bit early there, so he would have cost himself a 10 for 2 there. But let's see if he's got enough in the tank to go a little bit quicker.
Let's see then. He's coming up to the Rothmans corners now. The chicane. Jumps the first curve. Extremely ballsy coming through the final corner. A bit of a slide coming out of there. He's keeping the line very tight, almost onto the grass even, to actually come across the line. Would this be an improvement on his pole time? And yes, it does! 23-1! What a time!
What a good lap. Okay, he was already on pole, but he just wanted to just show the guys what he could do. 23-1, and to be honest, I'm sure he lost a 10 for 2 at Lucky Strike, so he could have done a 23 flat. Fantastic job by Ramdani there, and he starts on pole for race 1.
Wow, and again, it just vindicates the decision to move those guys upper class, because you can tell they were already fast, but they've gone even faster than the established boys in the bronze class. So really then, game on.
And it's not just because they were fast, we saw in Coppo. They also raced well. We watched them race, so we knew that they had good experience, even though it was the first time they were racing in global. So they had to go up to bronze. And yeah, you're right. First and second in bronze. So that should make it very interesting. Jaden Chia in third and Zari there in fourth. That would be interesting to see if they can get up into and challenge those two for the win.
Yeah, Muazzam Zari, the championship leader right now, actually. So really then, it's all to play for the drivers in this class and those who are outside of it prior to this. So we got an interesting racing prospect.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think this is going to be a fascinating race. I always love bronze. I always come in to watch bronze. It's great fun to watch. Because you've got very good drivers, but also you sometimes got some not so experienced drivers. So you do also see some carnage, especially in the reverse grid race. But here we got, 33 cars lining up. And of course, before we start, let's thank our sponsors. Motorsport Association Malaysia for sanctioning us. Life Apparel for the clothes. Royal Selangor, who do those excellent trophies. And I think it's kind of cool that a lot of drivers are taking part now just to win the trophies. Because the Selangor Pudo trophies are really beautiful. Of course, X Park, that's where we're at right now. It's where we do all our activities. And of course, Axel Sports for organizing this.
Right. A minute left to go here. We can probably jump into the race now and see how this will go and turn out, because we got a huge number of cars. In fact, it's 32 cars now.
Yeah.
We can correct ourselves. 33 would not be in this realm of imagination either.
Yeah. And yes, I would love to actually go back to that previous shot, because I wanted to just look at the bridge. See that bridge and see the control tower on the right. The control tower right's done a really good job to make it very realistic. It wasn't actually a bridge back then, but it's nice that the KJs put a bridge in there, because I think it looks quite cool. The track looks like how it would look if they decided to renovate it before, if they hadn't dismantled it, of course.
Yeah, no thanks to the Philistines and the diggers that dug up on that final in 2003. It just makes your skin crawl, doesn't it? A good track has gone to waste. But enough about the real world. We're now going to the virtual here with Kazari Ramdani. He actually has turned on the horn. I heard a horn there for a second. The lights come on. We're going to go green pretty soon in Shah Alam for race number 1 of bronze, round 2. And we're underway. Kazari Ramdani gets the whole shot through turn 1. Jasmine Tan follows him suit into P2, the rest of the field then comes streaming through. Ooh, big accident already. Well, it's 32 cars. It's almost to be expected. Where are you going to go?
Oh, my God.
Oh, they've gone into the barriers and they've gone into each other. Well, that's to be expected, isn't it? There was nowhere to go, and the drivers have absolutely paid the price for it, for one guy causing an absolute concertina effect.
Okay. We're just switching back to the race there. You can see this, all the guys recovering from that accident. We need to go back to the front, of course, because that's where the action is. Mervyn Singh recovering there. Oh, look at that, Ramdani trying to take the shortest line. But Tan, they're getting challenged by Jaden Chia. Chia's got the inside now for Lucky Strike. Ooh, as Ramdani locks up, and Chia goes through to P2.
Oh, look at that. He could hug the corner there. That is actually not the most common thing I've seen based on today's races, but he manages to hold on to that line quite tight and takes away the position from Jasmine Tan. So Jasmine then has to regroup now to not lose sight of both his fellow countryman and Kazari Ramdani, who's becoming quickly his chief rival.
Chris Chong, we're watching Chris Chong there, P5. Oh, he's going to try and do the switchback on Mertens, and I think he's got him. No, Mertens just hangs on for P4.
Yep, and it's still a nip-and-tuck battle all the way through, and we're only at the end of lap 1. Across the line then, Kazari Ramdani leads the way. Jaden Chia is in second, Jasmine Tan third, with Bradley Martins then engaged in a real dig-down battle with Chris Chong. And remember, Chris Chong was involved in that battle in the end of race number 1, round 1 actually, where he actually just got pipped to the line by Aulia Wafi Priyanatha. So Priyanatha got to win that time. And wow, this is absolutely close again between the drivers in bronze.
Wow, Chris Chong doing a nice job there to hold on to that, to make that position. Was challenged at P4, but just hanged it out around the outside. Good overtaking there by the Singaporean.
Now then, the race, again, it just goes into the initial period of craziness. After that, it just goes into a bit of a lull.
Yeah.
It's just drivers settling in. But again, it could just pick up if someone triggers a big accident, and it might just happen between these two if they're not careful.
Look at that, Mertens. But the front two are just disappearing. The front three really disappearing.
We'll keep an eye on that battle as it happens. But we're looking at the battle between Bradley Martins and Chris Chong, then ahead of him. Let's see how they tackle the Rothman chicane this time, because we saw last time how Chris tried to do a switchback, just didn't happen. This time round, he's just too far behind to make anything happen, and the other drivers just come cleanly through. And compared to what happened in Copper, they know how to handle the corner there.
Also, the championship leader, Zari there, he's obviously got involved in that accident because he's down in P12. Wow, that's not good for him. There we are watching the... Down in P12, championship leader. He's got a lot of work to do. There's enough time though, but he's got 2.7 seconds on the next guy, so he really needs to make sure he's in the top 10 so he can take advantage of the reverse grid race.
Absolutely, that's what I was about to say as well, because he just needs to finish top 10 to actually start from pole and at least recoup some points. Yes, it might be less compared to race number 1, but it's better than nothing right now. At least he will still score points in race number 1 in P12, but how we would love to actually be higher up.
Okay, watching board Mertens there going to the inside of Chong, but he will have the outside for the left-hander coming out, but he's made the move. Chong comes back. Oh, Mertens is going to run wide, and Chong does that thing you were just talking about hanging it on the curb. Works really well for him.
And he did it once again to just hold on to that particular position. So really, no, in fact, it was actually Jaden that did that last time around. So Jaden manages to hang on to that one. Chris Chong has adopted that strategy. As up in front, Kanzani Ramdani has actually pulled a bit of a gap, 1.5 seconds ahead of Jaden Chia. This is not what Jasmine Tan was looking for, as into the pits goes Alif Shauki, who is making his debut for this particular race. Unfortunately, he's into the pits probably to fix some damage. But we're not looking at that, we're looking at between these two. Jaden then still manages to hang on to P2 for the time being. We're on board with him, looking at his rear wing. Blowback from the exhaust then. You can tell the car is slowing when you see that fire coming out of the exhaust. Hangs it onto the inside, blocks the line, but just maybe installed a bit of his momentum, because you wouldn't want to defend through those tight corners. You just want to let the car flow, don't you think, Alex?
Yeah, you do. That's the beauty of it. Zari's really got close down that gap to the cars in front. Yeah, he's got a really good chance. 10 minutes remaining to get comfortably in the top 10.
Indeed. In fact, there's still a couple of other guys in front, including Joshua Nabus and Ayman Haikal actually fighting with each other. So still some ray of light for Zari, but at least he still is in the points. So getting P12, P10 or whatever, he will still get points for that. How he love to be close as possible to pole in race 2. He will love to hold on to that if he finishes in P10. Lock up there from Muhammad Hakimi. Relinquishes the position, or does he? He goes around the outside. A bit of a shimmy for Nasrul Ashraf there. Nasrul is the cock in the bottle, shall we say, in this particular battle. He's holding the key to P1 in race number 2, and he's got a bad exit coming out of the Lucas Loop. Zari watching brief, or is he? He dives one on the inside, catches Nasrul napping, and Nasrul spins it around for good measure.
Oops, shame. It's kind of... Nasrul is normally a lot faster than that. Looked like he might be carrying a bit of damage or something. But okay. So we've also got some real-life drivers here as well. Aaron Heikel in P8, who's battling to try and... Well, he's just behind this battle. There he is. He's holding off Joshua Nabus, doing a good job there. But yeah, he's going to find it tough because Joshua Nabus is so quick. But yes.
Yeah, didn't have the best of qualifyings though. Normally he would be right up there, but apparently now there's plenty of drivers who are actually quality specialists as well in bronze. So he's got work cut out to actually get those initial 5 points before the start of the race. But he would love to get at least 1 extra point out of this. He has 8 right now, in fact 7 right now in his hands, trying to take 8 onto the inside, which becomes the outside against Aaron Haikal. Aaron holds onto the curb. There's a car that spun. That's Chris Chong. Chris Chong's actually spun it, so he's going to get into the path of the traffic. As meanwhile, Dabos opportunistically gets 2 for 1 in through the lucky strike curve. Nice move there from Joshua Nabus.
Very nice indeed. Good move there by the Philippines driver. Wow, that's good. Good recovery after that messy first lap by himself. Back at the front though, Ramdani's really pulling away from Chia.
Oh, there's a guy that spun into the barriers as well, Velasquez. So, yeah. And we did say earlier, there was a bit of a lull, but it needs someone to trigger the whole thing. That we can see the mayhem as Ramdani dives one onto the back of a back marker, clears him immediately, and has a bit of a buffer between himself and Chia and Jasmine Tan.
It's very clean. I wouldn't mind riding on board with Tan, Jasmine Tan, just seeing how he's doing, because he's be interesting to see if he can get Chia just ahead of him. They've both cleared the back marker. Not close enough for a proper slipstream, but there is a bit of a slipstream.
Yep. And we saw how strong he was in Copper, where a few of the drivers actually tried to play a game of chicken coming into the lucky strike corner. And this particular instance, oh, Jaden, a bit squirrely coming into the lucky strike corner there, and just touches the rear wing. You can see there the car slides a bit. Jaden then manages to hold on quite nicely, but Jasmine will be so frustrated that he cannot get past at this point.
Washes a bit. Really look down the inside to Rothmans. Oh, it's a bit dodgy that. Yeah, I think it's a good idea to try and back out, try and get a good exit. Oh, Jasmine could learn from Chia there. Chia doing a good job of using so much curb at the apex, and that really helped him with the lap time.
Yep, and in turn helps him out as well in extending that gap by ever so slightly, by about a tenth of a second as they cross the line. So Jasmine then has to bide his time here. He doesn't want to actually get into any crazy mistakes, because they basically start from zero at this point in time, because it is a brand new class for them. So they have no opportunities to drop around. They just want to get onto the podium and probably stage an unlikely comeback in the championship run.
Yeah. And you know, this is the thing, because even if you finish in the top 3 for race 1, you still got race 2 to navigate, and that reverse grid race could really mess up your points if you get caught up in an incident.
Yep. And when you're in the middle of that mid-pack where everything happens, they just want to avoid any one of those incidents to actually get a clean sweep of the weekend. We haven't had that in Copper or Bronze. Oh! And we're not going to get that either in race 1, because look at that. Jaden gets walloped by Jasmine, and Jasmine actually gets away as if nothing ever happened. He didn't want to even slow a bit to avoid getting a penalty. Now that has opened up the door for Bradley Martins to get up to the back of them.
Wow, they're so lucky. Normally when you have that sort of accident, about 6-10 cars will go by, but they didn't lose any positions combined, 21 cars, because they had a bit of a gap.
Yep, and that's by virtue of the fact that they had the pace and the legs on the rest of the field. They could afford a bit of a spin just to make things a bit interesting for the rest of the guys behind. But pretty sure I think they can just extend that gap again in the final 5 minutes, because they still have the pace in the car, even with the damage.
Yeah, Chia's going to be angry. He's going to be fighting to get back. Condra Lodge is there, coming under some pressure from Ozair. Oh, no, it was
Ronaldo Julie, one of our former champions, of course, in the Copper class. He was really absolutely excited to get that championship that time around, but he's found it tough a bit. They're going a bit tough here in the bronze class, as now we got to see what happened to Jaden Chia. Jaden spun out for a second time, and he has actually whacked it into the barriers coming out of turn 4. So, oh, it's gone south for him completely. In fact, I think the rear wing damage may have been the factor there, because it was a massive old hit by Jasmine Tan.
Wow, such a shame. Just falls apart. We often see that in this sort of racing. You just think you have everything under control. You make one mistake or get hit once, and then another one builds up straight after that. Why can't Chia get past Jonathan Teo?
A bit dodgy there, because Jonathan actually cut across him in the middle of the road, and he nearly pushed him onto the grass. But Jaden says, no thank you, I wouldn't have any of that. I want to actually get to recover as quickly as possible. He's up to P7, drops Jonathan Teo to P8, but oh, that rear wing damage is really affecting him. You can see how much the car was fishtailing there, Alex.
Right, yeah, indeed. Okay, let's go up to that battle. Well, not really a battle, but
oh, Julie's in the, okay, no, Julie was in the pits because he was further behind anyway, so don't mind that. Renault Julie actually was coming to the pits. He kind of messed up the timing screen just for a brief moment of a second. But again, Jaden Chia, your heart goes out to him, isn't it? Because it was not even his fault when he was running in second, defending from Jasmine Tan, as Jonathan Teo then spins out with Gabriel Wee. Ooh, who was that? That was close. That was Michael Velasquez. Velasquez goes through. Zari goes through. And, wow. Everything is kicking off in the final 5 minutes.
Helps the championship leader. Zari gets back up to P9.
And
Okay, now on board with
Michael Velasquez. In fact, we should be focusing on Hakimi. I think Hakimi would be the one. Heiko, yep.
Heiko with Hakimi. Aaron Heiko there.
A real life driver, and he is Carter, I was thinking.
Yeah, Carter racing touring cars this year. Him and his brother, family of racers actually.
Hayden, yes.
Yeah, Hayden doing very good in local motorsport scene. But Aaron, I think it's the first time we're seeing him in the RGP, and he's done a really good job. Didn't qualify so well, but he's in the top 5 now. He just needs to hold off Hakimi with only 2 minutes remaining.
Yep. And, well, that's not to say it's a tall order. He could do it if he actually maintains the pace, but knowing how crazy he could get towards the end of the race, and we saw just now how everything was just kicking off when we are about at the 10-minute point. He just needs to keep it clean here, not to get involved in any unnecessary accident. But having said that, they do have Jaden Chow right behind, so Jaden then might have a fight in his belly. Oh, just as I said it, no, just keep it clean, Aaron. And unfortunately, he's dumped it into the kitty litter.
Well, he's having fun. He's got a smile on his face.
Oh, and more cars go off further behind there. That looks like Amirafi Aiza, I think, that went off into the barriers. Oh, wow,
Turn 1 has been very tricky.
Absolutely. Turn 1 has been the banana field corner for a lot of people, as we need to find where is Jaden Chow. Jaden's in P6. He just overtook, of course, because Aaron Heiko went off big time. Luckily, he managed to recover and not lose the position to Michael Velasquez. Coming out to the back of Hakimi now. Slipstream doesn't seem to be as strong in race 2 in bronze compared to copper, and again, Jaden just cannot find a way through just by Hakimi holds on to P5 just for the time being.
Okay. Too bad we don't have Ramdani on Zoom, because it'd be nice to see his reactions if he does hold on to the win. But still, it's been a quite interesting race. The 2 copper drivers running at the front, looking very good. Jaden Chow, though, was really mixing it with them to that spin. And like you said, I think the car is a bit damaged, and he's doing a really good job of recovering here.
Yep. Oh, there's a lockup there from Hakimi. That might present an opportunity coming into turn 1. But remember, that rear wing damage does cause oversteer. And that first corner is almost like a big trail braking corner. He has to really hold the brakes quite well coming through there. Keeps it straight. He brakes straight for that one. But, oh, look at that. Even Hakimi has a rear wing damage slightly. So, really then, both drivers are having to deal with a lot of oversteer.
Okay, Jaden wants to be careful he doesn't tap Hakimi into a spin, because all his good work will be undone. Ooh, nicely done down the inside. It's faster around the outside, it appears. Hakimi holds on for now.
Yep. Hakimi just about hangs on to the position, but you know, you can feel that it's almost inevitable that Jaden might just find a way past. But these two guys are having equally damaged cars then, because I can see both rear wings are slightly dented. But Jaden gets a good exit coming out of 7 and onto the back straight, gets him just about. But that also in turn gives an opportunity for Hakimi to get up to the back of the inside. He's in the slipstream. They're going side by side as Kazani Ramdani is about to come into the final corner. Then we'll go back to that battle as soon as Ramdani crosses the line. But he takes a victory here, just as he did in the copper class in round 1 in Sepang. What an absolutely brilliant drive. And it's vindication as well for a lot of people who thinks that he could just been upgraded. Now we're watching back between the battle between Jaden Shah and Hakimi. Jaden manages to get through, and guess what? It's a good recovery drive, but he would feel absolutely incensed that Jasmine Tan had to take him out there, Alex.
Absolutely. He'll be thinking this one got away from him, because he was in the battle for the win. Aaron Heiko, still managed to come in P7 after that spin, so good job by the young Malaysian. And the others come through as well.
Yep. Crosses the line goes Aaron Heikal in P7. Gets a bit of a big drift there coming through turn 1. Gabriel in 8th. 9th is Muazzam Zari. Somehow Muazzam still ended up not finishing ahead of Gabriel despite, Aaron Heikal despite Aaron having a big spin. But 10th then is Michael Vincent Velasquez. So he'll be on pole position in front of the rest of the field, and that will be quite a scary thought, especially for a driver who has not been in that position before, I think, Alex.
Yes, absolutely. Be great for the championship leader to get up P9, so he will start in the front row for race 2. Race 2 is coming up just after this. We'll be back right after this short break. Welcome back to eRacing GP Global Edition 11, round 2 of 4. We're at the Shah Alam Circuit, of course, a virtual circuit that no longer even exists here in Malaysia. We've just had the copper class earlier at 8 o'clock, and now we're in the middle of bronze. Just had race 1 of bronze, super exciting. Ramdhani winning that race from Malaysia. Now, on to race 2. Ammo. Race 2. Reverse grid.
Well, let's just say, with the reverse grid being as it is, we're going to have the fast guys further behind. And they're trying to go through the guys who are proverbially slightly slower than them. And the even slower guys further behind. If that kind of concoction put together creates a sort of concertina effect, we're gonna see probably the same things what happened in race 1.
Well, like when we got like 20 cars or 15 cars, not so bad if you get one guy in the midfield making a mistake, because you can kind of go around it. But when you got 33 cars on the grid, you just need one guy in the midfield have a small contact, get a bit out of shape, and you can just have cars going bang, 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 like we saw in race 1. So I think if you're not in the top 10, surviving lap 1 is the biggest ask to do.
Yes. And for a lot of these guys, they probably haven't had that as well, because some of these guys probably were involved in the collision the first 2 races, and then that one just now as well, for good measure.
Yes, absolutely. We're looking on board from the car. Actually, this car on pole says 2, but he's on pole. Velasquez, sorry.
Yep.
There we go. Good thing we got you here, Ammo. But of course, championship leader, Zari, in second position. That's going to be the guy really favourite for this race at the moment.
Yep, indeed, because this is what he needs to try to extend the gap at the top. But Chris Chong also didn't have the best of races in that first one, so really then it just helps him increase the gap ever so slightly. But again, we have the likes of Ramdhani and Tan in here. It might just complicate matters as well, especially in the hunt for the championship.
Absolutely. A lot of guys, the championship's wide open. I know this is only round 2, but don't forget they get to drop 1 round. I think they get to drop 1 round.
They get to drop 1 round, but for the likes of Ramdhani and Jasmine Tan, they don't have that kind of luxury. So whatever happens here, this is all 3 races that they're going to have to score.
Absolutely. We're on board. You can see in the insert there, Mohammed Shaki.
Shauki. He's all the way in P23.
P23. He actually got involved in that first lap accident in race 1.
Yep.
So
and he had to pit as well because of that. So we saw him straight away come to the pits at the end of the first lap. Now we're on to race number 2. Lights are on again, 6 of them in fact in the Assetto Corsa, with Michael Vincent Velasquez on pole, Muazzam Zari on his outside. And when the lights go out, we're underway here for race number 2, and it looks as though Zari then got the first initial getaway better. In fact, it turns into the inside for turn number 2. He might get a run on him. Velasquez right beside him. They're going through wide into turn number 3, and it looks as though everything was smooth and clean further behind. We didn't see the same nonsense that we saw in race number 1, and it's Velasquez who actually has to concede that position to Muazzam Zari. So Muazzam's in the lead, Velasquez second. Gabriel Wee actually made a good start as well. He maintains his 3rd place, along with Aaron Heikel and Mohammed Hakimi. That's your top 5 coming through the first sector.
Wow, incredibly clean start. I did not expect that. I expected to see some carnage, but just showed how good these drivers are. The racing was very clean as we ride on board with Hakimi.
Yep, Hakimi then on the inset for just actually no, not in the inset. He was in the 2-way screen for just a moment of a second. Now we're watching him on track, as behind there, that's Bradley Martins going toe-to-toe with Jaden Chia. Jaden had to concede there. Oh, they've actually hit each other. Jaden manages to turn him right around, slows up just to let him by, so he avoids a penalty. I think that was just a slight miscalculation on Jaden's part, but to both of their detriments, they have actually lost a huge amount of positions. Bradley Martins then having to fend off Joshua Napus. Jose Alcantara came through there just to get a couple of positions out of the guys battling as well. As we see coming into the Rothmans corner, a lot of people locking up. 32 cars, mind you, coming through, streaming to the end of lap 1, and it looks as though nothing major to report, Alex.
Yeah, fantastic racing. Very high quality lap 1. That was a superb lap. If all these drivers should give themselves a pat on the back. Reverse grid with this bigger race, bigger grid, that was a very impressive lap.
Absolutely. And further up in front, Gabriel Wee has actually gotten the jump on Michael Vincent Velasquez. Velasquez has actually dropped a position, so Wee then goes weeing up to P2, and he wants to actually probably get a slice of that P1 as well from Muazzam Zari, as behind them, behind Hakimi to be exact, Ramdhani and Tan are up to P6 and 7.
That's actually really good by Ramdani. He stayed out of trouble. Race 1 winner. And he's comfortably in the top 10, which is where you need to be. Give yourself a chance to try and get to the front.
Yeah, but now he's actually conceded the position to Jasmine Tan, or has he? They're still going side by side through the Lucky Strike corner, and it looks as though Tan may have had the run on him, and he has to concede position. Wow, that is actually quite nip and tuck. Further up in front there, Aaron Haikal and Muhammad Hakimi has actually stalled a bit their momentum because they were actually battling with each other. That will allow Tan and Ramdani to get into the thick of it.
That was very smart driving by Jasmine Tan there. He just squeezed Ramdani close to the apex, so Ramdani couldn't really lunge and just went round the outside. Very clever driving by Tan.
Yep, and we can see why both their racecrafts are actually quite good, that they had to be upgraded to bronze for this particular case. As Jasmine then around the outside of Hakimi, no way through just yet, and that will allow Ramdani to go around the outside. He didn't get to block him that time around. Gets him to turn 3, or does he? Whoa, that's very close. Both of them really have a huge amount of trust with each other to drive that close.
Oof. Then Ramdani had to check up there because the car in front of him wasn't as quick, and that's allowed Jasmine to get back. And now they're both.
I spoke too soon. I did say earlier that they trust each other so much to race close quarters, and I've been proven wrong that time as well.
Yeah, that was really enjoyable. I really enjoyed watching them. High quality racing. I think Hakimi just caught them out a bit, checked them up, and they came together. Such a shame.
Yeah, real shame there. Ramdani then, this time, is the one who was the perpetrator of that particular accident to take out Jasmine Tan, which Jasmine, of course, took out Jaden in race number 1. Someone spins around. Jose Kadri gets tapped around there by Bradley Martins, and in turn allows a 4-way scrap here for just P7. Ramdani then will probably get the better of that. In fact, no, it's Ramdani involved in that one as well. So he will try to clear away from these guys. Nabos, we're on board with him. He actually is watching brief among the 4 drivers here, and behind him is John Lawrence Bernardo, so his fellow countryman is also getting involved here. All kicking off in the final 10 minutes of this race, Alex.
Yep, Ramdani goes to the inside. He's looking down the inside of Mertens. He decides to pull out of it. Very conservative driving, I have to say.
From Ramdani, despite...
Sorry, Joshua Nabos actually that was doing that.
Yep, he also had a bit of a dig there. He tried to look in the inside as Jaden Chia then tries to line one up on the inside through turn 3 on Ramdani. Gets a bit spooked there. In fact, Ramdani also went off onto the grass, even just a bit slightly. And in front of all these guys is Muhammad Hakimi. So Hakimi is the guy who is the train master in front of the carriages.
That's a good way of saying. He's good racing. Really good racing.
Wow, and we're still only about 5 minutes in, and I did say 10 minutes left to go. It's as if that will be a lot of there's still like a little bit left to go. And so, who's that? There's Ramdani off into the grass. So Ramdani manages to outbrake himself. Bradley Martins goes through, and so does Jaden Chia on Joshua Nabus.
So this has been really good for Martins, and of course Hakimi further up the road as well. But now looking at the battle, what's this? Battle for 3rd and 2nd.
Yep, between Gabriel Wee and Michael Vincent Velasquez. Velasquez, of course, lost that position at the end of lap 1 to Gabriel Wee, so he's not been able to pull away from Velasquez, Gabriel Wee. About 6/10 of a second between the both of them, but for the time being, at least they're setting into a rhythm. In fact, it's kind of happened like this. The first 5 minutes is mayhem. There's a bit of a lull, about 3 to 5 minutes in between, and the final 5, we go into a crazy mayhem.
Well, I'm looking forward to the final 5 then. But yes, Hakimi there now. He's all over the back of Aaron Heikel. This is going to be interesting. Heikel's done a good job there in P4, but he's got some fast cars coming up behind him.
Indeed, and that fast train of cars is being led by Bradley Martins, but Martins, he's got his own little trouble here trying to get up away from Jaden Chia, Joshua Nabus, and comes under Ramdani. And if I were him, I'll be actually trying not to look back too much, because those are, they are quality. They are really fast, even in the bronze category, as Hakimi gets a good run onto the back of Aaron Heikel, coming through the Lucas Strike and Lucky Strike corner. Locks up big time, but manages to get through. And credit to both drivers, they gave each other a lot of space. And that's nip and tuck. There was no collision there. Heikel just loses it, and unfortunately he's going to spin right into the crowd. Oh, that's a big one. He spun around a second time.
Unlucky for Heikel there. He was tried to go down the inside, but then tried to give the other driver a bit of space. And while trying to give space, he spun it himself.
Yes, and he tried to recover from what was basically his own mistake. He just triggered that particular instance. Now that opens up the door for the other drivers to actually get up to the top 5. Bradley Martins holds on to that position. Jaden Shah on the outside. Martins just shoves him up slightly. He says, yo, the door's not open, don't go through. And that also allows Joshua Nabus to get up to the back of him as well. Here's Jaden onto the inside, coming to turn 3. Locks up. He tries to find his way through. He pries the door open. And Jaden somehow managed to go through. So Jaden Shah up to 5th place. Bradley Martins dropped to 6th. And that in turn gives an opportunity for Joshua Nabus, Ramdani, and further behind there, Jasmine Tan to get up to the back of these guys as well.
Okay, all the quick guys still in the top 10. So good to see, even though a few of them have had some incidents along the way. Ramdani there, really, this is our race 1 leader. He's got the pace to get to the front. Can he make the moves though? Being fast is one thing, overtaking is another. Oh, sells him a dummy. Nicely down the inside. Oh!
And Nabus goes off out of sympathy. There was no collision that we could see just now, but Nabus just got spooked so badly that he messed up his braking. And another driver there going off further, going onto the grass wide. That is Jaden Shah. So Jaden in front of Bradley Martins and Ramdani. So Ramdani proves that he can be fast in qualifying, but he's also quite merciless in racing as well. You can see there, he just to make the driver go out of control and takes position away.
Yes, absolutely. Ramdani's been very impressive today. He and Jasmine Tan, it's been very, very good. But of course, we should also mention our leader, who was our championship leader coming into this race, Zari there. He's just going away at the front. The Malaysian's doing a superb job. Last lap time of 24.4. Very good lap time indeed. And just pulling away from Velasquez.
Yep, in fact, Velasquez actually gotten ahead of Gabriel Wee out of our sight. So he's managed to regain what is basically the position he was prior to this. But mind you, he was on pole as he goes onto the grass even around turn number 7. As we look further behind, Bradley Martins and Kazani Ramdani, he'll be thinking, oh no, not another one. Another one of these fast boys that he has to deal with. And tell you what, he really has done an amazing job in holding his ground here. Yes, he's lost a couple of positions, but at least he's still in that top 10 and challenging quite well here with the likes of Chia and Ramdani around him. Ramdani then, high proponent, he's a proponent of locking up, isn't he? He likes to lock up the inside the tyres.
Yeah, that's very true. Maybe he likes running that brake bias a little bit to the front. But yes, Mertens there holding on. A bit further back, Joshua Nabus is then good fight. He's all over the back of Hashim. Yep. This is for 9th and 10th.
Oh, they both go onto the grass. That's what Joshua Nabus going even wider. But luckily, they managed to hold on to that, because sometimes if you go too wide coming out of the Lucas Loop, it's going to spell trouble for you. You're going to go off into the barriers on the inside. But luckily then, nothing happened between both of them. And Nabus is still about a 10th of a second as they come across the line. Arman goes on the inside. He goes very narrow and manages to hold on. Nabus spins. Oh. He spins into the crowd. Oh, let's see. Let's hope no one hits him.
This is where sometimes, Nabus is a little bit fragile in these sort of situations. We know how quick his one-lap pace is, but he'll be upset with himself on that one.
Definitely, and he showed that he had good pace as well to challenge the top 10. He's now out of it, so no more for this particular instance in the second race, as Aaron Heikel nearly loses it, how he did in race 1 as well in P19. So a bit of a baptism of fire here for the young Malaysian, who's showing that he could race, but it's just that he's unfortunate when unfortunately for him, he does get involved in some silly incidents. Now then, we need to look out for them in front between Jaden Shah and Muhammad Hakimi. 0.3 of a second between the both of them, and it's pretty close. Bradley Martins watching brief along with Kanzani Ramdani.
Oh, absolutely. This battle for 4th position, I can't tell which way this is going to go.
Indeed. As well, where is he gonna go? Where's Gabriel gonna hold on here? Where is Hakimi gonna hold on here with the likes of the 3 fast guys, Chia, Martins, and Ramdani? Wow, look at that. Look at how close they got to the wall on the outside, coming through the chicane. This is Hakimi then fighting for the race of his life here to hold on for just P4. Oh, further up in front! Who's that spun? There's a couple of drivers spinning. It's Gabriel Wee. Gabriel Wee's been taken out by a back marker. This is becoming now a battle for the podium. Oof. Oh, further accident as well, Alex. Oh, no. That? Gabriel Wee as well. And I didn't know who's that got taken out. It's Chris Chong. Oh, the collateral bystander. Now it's a battle for the podium, Alex.
Okay, this is heating up indeed. Ooh, Ramdani getting past the back marker as well, I think. So look at that. Hakimi, Chia, Ramdani, Mertens, and Jasmine Tan in P7 also closing down the gap to this battle.
Yep, it's a three-way battle for the final position on the rostrum. Oh, you're gonna have to look behind your fingers here. What's gonna happen next? Especially if you're a fan of both of these drivers. Jaden Chia then onto the inside of Muhammad Hakimi. Hakimi then holds on to P3 just for the time being. Wow, look at that. That's good driving for both of them. That's a lot of trust for the drivers, especially going through the fast corner like that. But Jaden then lights one on the inside, coming through the Lucas loop. And is he gonna take it? No. Hakimi hangs around the outside, full throttle, wide open, just to hold on to that position. But you can tell that it's almost inevitable that Hakimi may have to concede the position just for the time being. He might have to regroup himself here. Jaden Chaden up to P3 after a rather disappointing race one, Alex.
Yeah, just behind them, Ramdani was having a great battle with Mertens. Just holding off Mertens right now. Oh, and the Ramdani locks up that front tyre again. We talked about how he's got that brake bias all the way to the front. And he's put himself under pressure by Mertens.
And the back marker here compounds matters as... Oh, that's a that back marker's actually caused a lot of trouble. In fact, there's a spin. Martin's involved. Martins gets actually taken round. Ramdani with an opportunistic move around the outside boxes him in, and Martins had nowhere to go.
Gosh, fortunate for Mertens there. Martins is drawing really, really well.
Up to that point as well, and then I was tipping him at least to battle for the top 5 even more. He held his ground well, but unfortunately he's going to have to settle for P7 because Bernardo, John Lawrence Bernardo is about 2 seconds behind him anyway, so he'll have to settle for P7. He will not be too ashamed about that. It's just unfortunate that it was something out of his control that caused him to be boxed into that accident. Now then, we're not going to look at Muazzam Zari for the time being because we're going to look at this battle still for P number 2 because Michael Vincent Velasquez is having to hold on here for another lap in front of Jaden Chia and Muhammad Hakimi with... Comes out... Oh no! Jaden's off into the barriers! He actually touched the grass, and we did say earlier how that grass can actually send you into the inside barrier, and that's it. That has proven to be true here. He's stuck there for a while.
My heart goes out to Jaden Chia. He's actually been really fast today, but just too many mistakes. He made another mistake in race 1 which cost him, and that was a big mistake all by himself in race 2.
Yep, he's going to be kicking himself because he could have gotten so many good points out of this one, but he's going to have to regroup in a couple of weeks' time when we go to a brand new circuit we'll be announcing very soon. So, wow, there we go. The final 5 minutes of mayhem, and we're proven right.
Yes, you're absolutely right. We are on the last lap. We've been seeing some great battles. Hakimi there in 3rd position. Looks like he might hold on to it because Ramdani, I think, is too far behind. But this is the guy that's been the class act here in race 2. Had a great start from P2 on the grid, on the reverse grid.
Yep.
Went into the lead and just hasn't looked back. Just driven superbly.
And of course, he came into this round as championship leader, so if he wants to stamp his authority and try to win the championship, he will try to do this by virtue of doing these kind of smash and grab jobs, isn't it? It's just that kind of thing that he has to do now. If you got fast guys like Ramdani, Jasmine Tan, and all those boys who are actually fast in qualifying, but he will not be worried about what's going to happen in the future. In the present, is Muazzam Zari coming out of the final corner to take a 2nd victory of the season in the bronze class. He'll be absolutely happy with that one after what happened in race number 1. So at least he manages to salvage something in this particular round. 2nd place will be Michael Vincent Velasquez, his first ever podium, and Muhammad Hakimi with a fist up in the air, up into 3rd. In fact, I thought it was another guy in 3rd place. It's Muhammad Hakimi just manages to hold on to P3 there. Oh no, in fact, Velasquez manages to hold on to P2. Hakimi with an absolutely exultant P3, and
wow.
I think we might just get an interview with him immediately, Alex.
Absolutely. I really want to speak to Hakimi. Hakimi, can you hear us?
Yeah.
That was such an exciting race. You want to talk us through it? We can hear you.
Yeah, you can hear me?
Yes, can hear you perfectly.
Right.
How did you do that?
Oh, I don't know. It's very tense because a lot of things happened right in front of me. People crashing into me. Messed up my corner, but managed to recover through race 1 and tried to keep out of trouble through race 2.
And indeed, that race 2 actually looked like you actually managed to stand your ground, isn't it? With the likes of Kausari Ramdani and Jasmine Tan, who were pretty fast in Copper before. Is that going to be a sign of things to come for you as well? You're going to have to keep an eye out for more drivers who are coming through.
Hopefully, this is just the beginning. This
Yeah.
is just the beginning.
I mean, he defended really well. You defended really well. The pressure was fantastic. How did it feel in the car?
Oh, I was nervous. I was really nervous.
Well, okay.
But I felt the pressure before. Yeah.
Well,
Well, that's really, he's soaking out like a sponge here. But congratulations on the podium. You might have missed out on second, but at least it's a podium nonetheless. Congratulations, Hakimi. We'll see you next time.
well
Thank
done.
you so much. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, that was exciting racing. Really enjoyed that. Hopefully, the other guys in bronze will have the Zoom camera on next time because I would love to talk to Ramdani and of course Zari as well because they had some really good races. Okay, it's 9:50 now. Qualifying for the gold and silver class is coming up in 10 minutes. We've done copper, we've done bronze, we've got gold and silver combined coming up in 10 minutes. So we'll be back soon, but just after this break. Welcome back. This is eRacing GP Global Edition 11. We are at round 2 of 4. My name's Alex Young. With me is Amo Hazik. We've had the copper. We just had the bronze. How exciting was bronze?
Well, again, bronze just absolutely smashed it out of the park in terms of how the racing was so good. And it may be chaotic in some parts, but it does prove that those guys in bronze can race very well as the gold and silver classes. So can't wait how the top cream of the creme will be racing. But for sure, it just whets your appetite for what's to come.
Absolutely, absolutely. We are here at round 2 at the Shah Alam track, a track that no longer exists. Look at it, there it is, clockwise, 14 corners, 3.6 kilometers. It no longer exists. It disappeared 20 years ago. And we're going to give you a treat. Even since we've got so much time before this qualifying starts, we're going to show you the hot lap one more time. Okay, here we are at the Shah Alam Motorsport Paradise, also known as SAMP. This is the Batu Tiga track as we go through the last couple corners onto the start-finish straight. 3.5 kilometers, 14 corners. It was built in 63, renovated in 88 for Grand Prix bikes, which it ran for 10 years. Now braking for turn 1. Third gear, use apex through turn 1. Easy flat through turn 2 onto this medium leg straight. Now turn 3 is kind of interesting. You brake just as you turn in. And don't brake too late. Oh, I'd brake too late because these cars have a lot of grip. Now turn 4, we're in Electrolux Hill. You can see the hill on the left of us. This is where all the crowds used to be for GP bikes and also local racing. We used to get good local racing here. Now out of turn 7, got to get a good exit out of there, which I didn't because it leads onto the long back straight. It's not really a straight, got quite a few corners. Now this used to go straight here, but in 88 when they renovated the track, they produced a Lucas Loop, which is this right-hand bend to try and make the length of the track long enough for GP bikes. From 6th down to 3rd, try and get some curb on the left-hander, good exit there. Then this 90-degree right, never really had a corner, turn 11, get a good exit out of there before coming to this long right-hander, double apex, just about flat in the Tatus. It won't be flat in the Jordan. Before coming to the last couple corners on the track. This is Rothman's corner, turn 13 and 14. Get a good exit out there, use plenty of the curb. In real life, those curbs are that big as well. Well, not real life, because this track doesn't exist anymore. And that's a lap, the Shah Alam Motorsport track. That was fun. Every time I look at that video, I enjoy watching that track, just because I've driven that track a few times before, in the long time ago.
Yep.
Before you were born.
Yeah. Yep. In fact, born around 95, so the track was still around, but I didn't get to see any of the world-class races that happened there.
Yeah.
Especially, okay, MotoGP happened at least until 97 after that, but then they moved to Johor for one season, then to Sepang. World Sports Car Championship happened eons ago prior to that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, quite shame that it was about 5 minutes from where I live currently, but yeah, politics and certain things happened that had to close the circuit.
Yeah, let's not go into that. We'll run out of time. Okay, we've done the copper and bronze. They're driving the Tatas Formula Masters cars. We are going to go to gold and silver in 5 minutes. But if you're wondering what happened in round 1 2 weeks ago, here are the highlights from then.
6 lights on the gantry then, and when they go out, we will be underway for the first round of the season, and Nabil already is in first gear, white walling the throttle, and he gets off to a very good start. Alan Drake Cruz has no answer to that. Nazmi Aslan, on the other hand, he tries to make it an Aslan 1-2, just like a few seasons ago, but he locks it up coming to turn 1. Into the gravel he goes, and that will be a tough recovery shot for him to go through, but the rest of the 20-car field go through safe. Harris then thinks smartly a bit, prevents a big accident between himself and Balagulan. Oh! Well, did I say I spoke too soon there? He caused an accident himself. I'm surprised quite a lot of the drivers from IndyCar race tonight. Oh, Ed goes on the inside and takes out Bismadir. And that would not be happy for one guy there. Indonesians will be up and ups of that particular maneuver.
Let's see how Roy Ripperip is doing.
Oh!
What was that?
Aswan Anwar actually lost it coming to turn 14. Nasri just collected him. He didn't have anywhere to go because they were both braking hard. It was close to an incident. In fact, incident has happened. Francis goes straight off at turn number 12 and spins nearly into the path of Mark Dodacombi. Around the last corner then for Nabi Aslan. Weaves across the line like Fernando Alonso and Sebastian Vettel used to do and takes victory in the gold class.
That was a great drive. Did you enjoy that?
Not really. I was making a few mistakes here and there, and driving wasn't that clean.
Lights on the gantry. When they go out, we will get underway then for race 2 as the field then cleanly get away coming to turn 1. Let's see if that's the case. Oh, a couple of bumps and bashes coming to turn 1 then. But unlike what happened in race 1 where Nazmi Aslan went into the kitty later, the rest of the field then just about get away safely. Oh wait, spoke too soon.
Top 3 out.
And that's Faiz Ryan right into the crowd. Let's hope that no one gets collected too badly then. We're focusing up in front. Aswan Anwar still holds on to the lead in front of Nazmi Aslan. Nazmi dives one onto the inside and again makes a mistake of trying to get too fast too early.
And some more cars making mistakes everywhere. Oh dear.
Now it's going to be a drag race.
Oh!
Oh no, Keith.
But Alan Drake Cruz has improved so. Oh! And they both spin.
No, that's Axel. That's just Axel spinning it, and it does vindicate your point slightly that Alan has improved. Aswan Anwar was the one that caused that particular incident.
Across the start finishing line to win his second race, and he'll be leading the Gold Championship.
And he backs it up just across the line as well for good measure. And leading the championship in gold class, Alan Drake Cruz likewise walks away here with a double second place finish in front of Haikal, who is out of nowhere on the podium overall, and actually is going to win potentially the silver class, Alex.
I enjoyed. Okay, we are back, and that's the highlights from round 1. Very exciting. It's very weird seeing me on highlights and then seeing me back on the screen.
That was a good transition. That was a really good transition.
But anyway, let's look at the results from the gold and silver class. Looking at the silver class first. Roy Ripperip from Philippines is leading that championship now. Interesting to see if he can stay there. Keith Moe, the young 8-year-old. Let's see if he can stay there as well. Good job by him. Aziz there. And then the two Aslan brothers, the two younger brothers. Well, one older, one younger brothers of the Aslan clan in 4th and 5th. On to the gold class standings now. And Nabil Aslan has a big lead there. Alan Drake Cruz did a really good job to be P2 there. The young Filipino who's racing from Norway. So fantastic to see him have a good chance there. Wong in 3rd. Axel Norcom in 4th. Had a few incidents, but still managed to be 4th in the championship. And Balagulan in 5th. On to the team standings. And Stratus Motorsports is leading that. Veloce Ragazza from Philippines in 2nd. what's that? Biff Racing in third, Alan Racing in fourth.
Balapan random.
Yeah,
Random drivers motorsport is basically.
in fifth. Okay, onto the Nations Cup. Malaysia is leading. Won the last couple global editions, to be honest. It's been a while since we saw Philippines won. Philippines in second, of course, Indonesia in third. Okay, now let's go back to the on-track action. Well, comeback, which is us. And then we'll go to the three-way and we can see the on-track action. We are in practice and coming to the end of practice right now. And there you go. Look at those.
110.2. Wow.
Wow. I love the sound of these cars. Keith Moe, the young Malaysian. Quickest.
Yes.
He's been practicing hard. My gosh. We got a, what's that? It's an 8-year-old and a 10-year-old in first and second position. Keith Moe's obviously, he's in the silver class. So setting some good times here. But I don't think we've seen some of the Go guys give their hand. They're probably best practicing race pace at the moment. Just seeing how the tire wear. Of course, tire wear is a bit different this time, isn't it?
Indeed. And it's going to be quite difficult for them to manage, especially the cars with a lot of wheel spin in these things.
Yeah, and of course tire wear for gold and silver. Like you said, so much horsepower going through these cars. They're going to have to really watch out for those rear tires as the race progresses. 2 15-minute races coming up. But before we go to that, we will go to qualifying. And let's see where we're going. See who should we follow for the start of qualifying.
Oh, wow.
Kelvin Powell. Good idea. Let's follow Kelvin Powell. He's my hero of the hour at the moment, just purely because of the livery.
Yes, Ayrton Senna's McLaren livery that he used from, well, God knows forever. It actually says 88 all the way to 1993. But this particular one is from 1991 because this is, it was the MP46, if I'm not mistaken, that he won the race for.
That's beautiful. I mean, the Jordan, in my opinion, is probably the best looking, one of the best looking cars ever for Formula One. And I have to say, the marble colours from McLaren, my gosh, it's so sexy. There's Kelvin as we're talking. Thank you, Kelvin, for bringing that livery. It looks awesome.
Also, the fact that no matter which livery you put on this car just looks so nice.
Oh, it does, it does. We should go to the full screen for this. I'd love to see the full screen, just because we get a closer look at that McLaren. I tell you what, during the race, hopefully we'll go to this car a lot, even if it's not doing so well. Just because it looks so good.
Indeed. There it is in all its glory, the McLaren MP4 8. Yeah, it was the MP4 8 that won the World Championship with Senna, but it was also the 6 that I was thinking. But either way, nice color, the day glow with the iconic yellow and green striped helmet of Ayrton Senna. Is just, can you imagine if Senna raced in Malaysia back in 91?
Yeah, he came and had a go, and unfortunately I didn't get a chance to meet him. I blew him off to go water skiing. But anyway, that's another story for another day. Let's ride on board perhaps with Nabil Aslan, because Nabil Aslan is our championship leader in gold, and I would like to just see how his lap is going. There he is, goes through turn 7. Very careful out of 7, didn't just floor it, huh?
Yep. And he did tell us before that he was using the manual H pattern, so his shifting is actually quite accurate if you actually listen to it. So yeah, he told us that before, because he uses the H pattern. That's why the shifts are very smooth.
And I wonder if you can do faster upshifts with the H pattern. It's a really good idea. Sorry, Nabil, we're blowing your secret to the rest of the world, because they're probably all using paddle shifts, but now they know they're using an H pattern with a clutch. Proper old school.
And he has more control of that because there's a bit of a delay when you do paddle shift because it takes into account the clutch. So that's why you have that kind of weird sensation when the car just loses it in the braking. And that's a 110.3 for Nabil. So he matches Keith's time in practice. But Keith Moe goes fastest, 2:10s.
Wow, Keith Moe for the 10th one. He's a silver driver, isn't he?
Yes, and look at the color. The Golf livery from the McLaren last year, he decided to put on with Michael Schumacher's helmet.
Okay, we have to watch this kid. He's fantastic. The silver driver is on pole overall at the moment. Keith Moe, and look at him, there he is driving. Wow, he's really improved since the last time we saw him drive. Mega lap. Well done, young man.
Wow. And to truth be told, when we drove these cars on this track, we thought 11's going to be the fastest lap. There's no way anybody would break the 10s. But to see Keith almost touching 9s,
yeah,
that's absolutely stonking.
We have to ask, 9s might be possible then. 9s might be possible today. But great to see him going so quickly. Has he been held up? The only thing I wonder is he's taking a second lap. I wonder if it might have been smarter to do what Nabil did, which is just do one lap, go back to the pits and start another one.
Exactly, because these tires go off very fast, because these are qualifying tires after all in the 90s. The A-spec tires of compound A, they go out to 2 laps. So he did 1 lap. Now he's gone on for a second straight lap just to cool it off and going for immediate 3rd lap. So I think it might have been a mistake. He could have just gone back to the pits. And look, that has been detrimental to him. That was a very wide first one, Alex.
Yeah, that's right. Tire wear will be starting to build now. But also maybe the fuel is coming off. Maybe he and his dad, Rick, know something we don't know. Maybe there's some more time left in his pocket.
Oh,
Well, he's going off. Maybe he's going to try and start. Okay, he's going to try and start again. Okay, let's go back to Axel Knockham. He's on an outlap, isn't he? So
yes,
let's
and
watch him
now
for
he's started. But Keith wasted so much time going for an entire lap, and now he's got a little bit of a window now to do that second fast lap.
Yeah, okay, Axel's got some traffic. I'm not sure he's going to get such a good lap. Can we go on board with maybe Nabil and see how Nabil's doing? Because we know he'll be on a quick lap somehow. Okay, there we are. Nabil Aslan, leader in the gold category. He's fighting for pride right now because right now he has an 8-year-old in front of him on the grid.
Yep, and he's in silver some more, so wow, that's going to be a turn up for the books, isn't it? A very fast silver driver. We had a couple of those before in the past, but never in cars that are this tricky, Alex. This is like the ultimate test of skill levels.
He missed the curb a little bit at the apex of Lucas, so he wouldn't have been able to come on the throttle quite as easy as before. But this should be an improvement. Look how determined he is there at the inset. Shortest distance to the start-finish line. I think he likes this. Yeah.
Oh yes, it's a 9. Oh, there
9,
we go.
7. Okay, he's like, all right.
Yeah, he's had it.
He's like, that's good enough for Paul.
Yep, but we'll wait until what Keith Moore has to do because he's now on his way to start his final lap. And luckily, he's got a bit of a traffic in front, but looks as though it should be clear.
Okay, let's ride on board. Keep on.
That was it. We'll stay for now. And he's carrying 12 kilo balance as well, so it's not affecting what's bit. Driver in front there stops, but luckily gets out of the way just in time into turn 3. Driver in front also, who's still in the same lap as him, locks up. Shouldn't be much of a detriment, isn't it, Alex?
Yeah. Keeping it clean. Ooh, missed the apex a bit, but that's fine. That won't cost him much time. Okay, exit out of 7's key. Looks smooth. That was on the limit. Look how seriously focused he is there. He had a set up in his chair right now. But Keith coming down the back straight. He's down on his lap time just a bit. 4/10 down.
It's actually 4/10 from the time that Nabil just said. So it's actually stationary as it is, but you can hear his shifts, right? How he actually goes off the limiter very quickly. He actually is watching the reps. He doesn't want to overshift like some other drivers do.
I really feel he's going to touch the curve at the apex there, but he misses it a bit. That will cost him a tiny bit of time.
Through the Rothman's curve now.
Not bad. Okay.
Not too bad. It's actually quite conservative, but he will not have enough time to do one more. Comes across the line then. Would this be an improvement for Keith Moe? Across the line? No. It's second place, but still a very good second place, Alex.
Yes, and I think he's second place in the livery stakes as well. I think that's a really excellent livery, I have to say, to be honest.
The Gulf.
It is great, but it's not as good as our good friend here, Kelvin Powell. Oh my gosh. Oh my God, I haven't seen such great liveries in such a while, and really, what a treat to get 2 great liveries in one race.
Yep, oh, that's the third one. They're running the same magic one. I'm not sure who's that one.
It's
It's in fact Roy Ripper.
Oh, Roy, love it. Okay, that was very entertaining qualifying. Silver driver, second on the grid amongst the golds. That's going to make everyone take notice. And I have to say, I'm so pleased for him because Keith Moe, you know, he's 8, but I mean, he made a huge jump from the last Global Edition. So pleased to see that.
Indeed, and he came all the way from Copper as well to race against the gold guys. So really then, he's come a long way here, and it's just qualifying. You never know what is going to happen in the race, especially with how it can be kind of frenetic sometimes, but in gold and silver, you can tell it is at least more professional. So he will be in a good shout here for the win, Alex.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, but he's got to be careful as well, right? Because he's fighting for silver, you know, but he's got, you know, Gonzalez, who's in gold in 3rd, Danish Aram, who's in silver, actually, in 4th, I think.
In fact,
Alan Drake Cruz is gold. He's 5th. You know, so he's got to be careful he doesn't race the gold drivers too hard because he needs to try and make sure he wins silver. That is the main aim.
But in fact, actually, the immediate drivers behind Keith Moe are actually silver drivers, so he's fighting among the glass guys.
Gonzalez is gold, isn't he? Oh, anyway.
No, he's silver.
Silver. Okay, well, there we go. The gold drivers, other than Nabil Arslan, struggling. Big thanks to our sponsors, of course, Malaysian Motorsport Association Malaysia. We are with them, of course, here in Malaysia. Life Apparel, And of course, Royal Selangor trophies. We should bring the trophies on to the show,
Yep.
to be honest, because the trophies are beautiful. X Park, where we are based, and of course, Axel Sports, who are the organizers.
Yep. And those sponsor boys made it all possible as we are now getting ready here for the start of the second round of the championship for gold and silver, and at a track that has served up really good racing so far today. Let's hope we continue seeing it here in the combined gold and silver classes, and it's been a good idea as well, because if we had combined classes like this, it's been providing some really good racing, especially it's kind of like a taster of how multi-class is like for some of these guys.
Yeah. Okay, there we are on board with Keith Moe. Maybe I would love to see his reaction. We should perhaps, actually at the start, I wouldn't mind seeing how he handles the first few corners, because, oh, he looks pretty relaxed. He's got his arms back, he's having a stretch.
Yep.
No worries.
And if you look closely, his hair is flapping in the wind because Rick actually puts a fan in front of his face so that he could stay cool while he's driving, or probably to simulate the actual speeds of how it feels like to drive these cars.
Yeah. It does say Keith Moe's on pole, but that's not quite right. The leaderboard is not correct. Nabil Aslan is on pole. And here we go.
Yep.
Countdown and start.
15 seconds left here. You can hear the revs already rising. You can see on the counter below there, Keith Moe is actually on the throttle, but not as full as he would have liked because it will destroy the engine. 5 seconds to go then. Lights on the gantry come on, and when they go out, round number 2 for gold and silver will be underway. And actually, he didn't get the best of starts. That's Angelo Gonzalez, and that guy, Keith, has to race hard because that's the guy in silver. But it looks as though all 19 drivers in both classes have... No, they've not gotten away safely. There's a big accident further behind. So many drivers get involved in that one. Azwan Anwar is one of them. I can see Roy Rip Rip and Yan Ming, as well as a driver, exiting the circuit completely. He's actually jumped the entire circuit. Where's he gonna go?
How's he going to get back on? He can't get back on, can he?
And who's that? We need to know who is that driver outside the circuit. How did he end up flipping it inside? It's Justin Young. Wow, he's got hung out to dry there, Alex. Completely out of there. And the guy with the best livery on the grid, that we might say, has massive damage. Roy Ripperit spins around. Calvin Powell has to nurse the car back into the pit lane. It's all kicking off,
no.
and it's just the first chance. We thought this is the best, the best of the best we could think of having the start race, but no, the powerful cars have actually triggered a massive accident, Alex.
Yeah, Kelvin Powell obviously not looking very happy there. Anyway, back to the front. Nabil Aslan there, streaking away at the front. But Gonzalez it's not dropping the field like he did in round 1. Gonzalez is right there in P2. And Keith Moe, wow, the 8-year-old in P3.
Yep, and remember, the race is still quite young. It's only about 1.5 minutes young. As further behind, we see another potential accident right there. Aldo Balagulan gets by Danish Aram. Danish actually had a bit of a lock-up there, then that forced the guys through. Further behind, I saw just now there was another accident between Hamdani. It's Hamdani and Yan Ming. They were involved in an accident as well, coming up to the Lucky Strike corner. We didn't get to see the end of that, but the rest of the field then now gonna probably settle into a bit of a rhythm. These cars proving still quite treacherous to drive, even in the gold class.
Absolutely. Well, they are tricky cars to drive. I don't know how these drivers are doing a great job with them. Balagulan there, P6 right now. He's a gold driver actually, and he'll need to try and get up to the top 3.
Yep, but he's in third at least overall. In the gold class behind Alan Drake Cruz and of course Nabil Aslan, who's leading the way. Nabil was actually just here just now to say hi to a few of the competitors, especially his friends, because we saw Amirul Afiq and Fakrul, Malik Fakrul, who were also racing in the copper class. Those are his friends. He's the guys that he was guiding, and he'll be happy to hear they got first and second that time. Now Nabil trying to emulate their success by winning here in the gold and silver class, as Nazmir Aslan, the oldest brother among the quad of brothers in here, he's actually got them through.
Yeah.
The youngest, sorry, Nazmir is the youngest.
Nazmir is the youngest. His elder brother is actually in P5. Oh, we've got 3 Aslans here. Brother number 1 is in 5. Brother number 3 is in 1st. And brother number 4 is in 7th.
Oh, wow. We thought that, oh, there's 2 of them. Now there's 4 of them
Yeah.
we have to deal with in sim racing. But it's nice to see that the family are very involved in racing, both virtually and in the real world.
I think Nazmir also got involved in that first lap incident, so good to see him there. But this is the man of the hour, Keith Moe. Wow, second on the grid, and there he is in P3.
And battling for the silver class win, of course, because Francis Angel Gonzalez is in silver, so where's he going to try to pressure the Filipino into a mistake? The smiling assassin, as we always call him, but recently he's not been smiling as much as he would have thought, because he hasn't had the run of results that he would have loved to be to fight for the championship. But it looks as though things might be looking up here, especially in round 2, that he is fighting with Kipo up in the front. He is in the championship, so both of these guys will be looking to take advantage of the fact that Roy Rip Rip had an absolute mare at the start. Now they're fighting for the win here, but they do not want to take each other out.
Yeah. This is the question though. So do you think Keith, I mean, problem with the younger drivers is they don't really do stuff. So you see the fathers working with them a lot to talk about, okay, listen, you've got to watch out for tyre wear. And even though it's a 15-minute race with tyre wear times 2, they do have to be careful.
Yep.
Keith looking at the outside.
Well, he thought about it. Francis locks up a bit, so Francis knows that he's there. He's under a bit of pressure. He's under the caution right now. They don't have to mind Nabil too much. Nabil is in his own race and leading his class anyway, so he doesn't have to worry about it. Danish Aram actually has a bit of a spin. He's lost 2 positions to both Axel Nokam and Harishami, but we're looking at the battle between Kipo and Francis Angelo Gonzalez. No, not way through just by yet. He launches the curve there slightly, but these cars are just not that easy to get onto the power, so they do not want to firewall the throttle and end up losing as we are seeing the battle between Danish Aram and Mohamed Hamdani. Hamdani, of course, is racing in the silver class this time around, but he may have been promoted to the gold, I think, Alex.
Yep. Hamdani's in gold, but I know he hasn't had a chance to practice much for this round, so he is quite far back. It is very important to put in the practice, guys. Especially these cars, they're so tricky to drive.
And case in point there, how Danish nearly lost it coming into the Rothman chicane. Now we're looking at Aldo Balagulen. Aldo then in the orange colors of Nike. It looks like the Dutch national team for a second, but either way, he is now sweating in onto the back of Nazri Aslan. This is the oldest of the Aslan brothers. Goes onto the inside, and Nazri didn't put too much of a fight there because he knows full well he's not willing to fight with a gold class driver. Just let him be on his way, and currently at the moment at least he is on the podium, so Nazri then will be on track to score his first ever podium in ERGP.
Okay. Come down onto the last corner. Oh, I love that red tarmac. So distinctive.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Someone goes off. Oh, that's a bad marker. That's a bad marker. It looks as though that might have been Justin Hung, who is recovering from being launched on. In fact, it's Yan Ming. Yan Ming is on to the gravel. He really doesn't like these cars, actually.
Yeah.
I spoke to him before. He's just not really in tune with the car at all.
But he also hasn't practiced that much, we have to say. Yeah, okay, so he's far back. They're lapped down now. Alan Drake Cruz there making some moves as well. Looks like he's closing down the gap to Keith Moe. So Drake Cruz is second in the Gold Championship. Bit of a tricky situation. What do you do here? He's second in the championship. He's not really fighting the 2 cars ahead of him.
Yep, and he's second in his class as well. So at the moment, at least, Nabil's way up in front. He doesn't want to risk actually getting to an accident and lose more points to Nabil Azhar, because remember, it's all about trying to gather as much points as possible and then cut away some of the losses. Yes, he still has a drop round to spare, but he just doesn't want to do anything crazy at this point in time. Now he's got to battle with his fellow countrymen Francis Angel Gonzalez and Keith Moe, who are in their own little class. So really then, he's in a bit of a pickle actually. He doesn't want to probably overexert himself. Maybe just hang back and watch the race come back to him towards the end. But for the time being at least, Alan Drake Cruz then 1.6 seconds behind Keith Moe. The real battle that we have to look at is the battle between Keith Moe and Francis Angelo Gonzalez. They're about 0.4 of a second here between the two of them. It's very close, isn't it? Francis so far has not relented from the pressure that Keith has been exerting onto him. Keith likewise. Oh, in fact, Keith actually lost it. Just as I said it, that Keith was pulling under pressure, he's actually had a half spin, and now he's actually let Alan Drake Cruz through. So, oh dear me, spoke too soon right there for little Keith.
This is where the inexperience has to come in, doesn't it? Keith just maybe starting to struggle with tyre wear, a little bit too greedy. But it's okay, he's still second in the Silver Championship. That's still a great result.
And in the silver race as well. He just wants to keep that in fact.
4th overall, second in silver.
Second in silver, but he's got Aldo Balagulen as well behind him, so he doesn't want to fight Balagulen too hard. Balagulen is on course with another gold driver, so he might just probably bide his time again, just to wait until at least Francis makes some mistake.
Absolutely. Halfway through this race, but with the tyre wear, it is a tricky race indeed.
Very tricky even. And if any of these guys are on a softer compound tire, they may just lose or fall off the cliff even more so. As now, Balagulan looked like he wanted to go for a dink onto the inside coming to turn 1, but Keith held his ground. He didn't even have to defend. He knows full well if he held the corner, Balagulan has no way through. So for the time being at least, Francis is not that far away either. He's only about 3 seconds ahead of Keith Moore. So if Keith manages to maintain the same pace that he had prior to the half spin, he could still be in a shout for the silver win.
Absolutely. Balagulan's doing a really good job. I mean, we know how quick a driver he is, especially in ACC and stuff. But he needs to clear Keith Moore right now, because if he can clear Moore quickly, then maybe he can get up and take the place from Drake Cruz.
Oh, but not like that. Not like that when there's a lot of tire wear on right now, and that will give him a lot of flat spots there. So he will feel a heavy amount of vibration on the left side.
Okay, just trying a little bit too hard. He needs to settle down. You can watch the Shah Alam Stadium in the background.
That's a nice touch there by KJ to put it onto that. It's just really gives a lot of personality and life to the circuit, as it was when it was still running.
We should put the Shell station. There used to be a Shell station outside of Rothman's. Around last corner, we should put that in as well.
And there was a Tesco there. Well, Tesco now, but
Yeah.
I think it was a Macro Mart before that. But anyway, Calvin Powell has a huge amount of front wing damage, and he's chasing a fellow McLaren car right in front of him, which is the Gerhard Berger car. So it's a battle between Senna and Berger for 11 and 12, and it's been driven currently by Hari Shami.
I think they've both got damaged front wings as well. In the walls, our favorite liveries. Don't worry, we still love you. Thanks for joining.
Oh well, worse things have happened to those kind of cars, especially given the fact that Senna as well has been involved in some major accidents in 1989.
Yeah. Back on board, Balagulan.
Oh, he locked up again.
No. Okay, you're right. That tire's going to be toast now.
Indeed, it's going to be more than square after the end of the race.
We should have to be so careful to get control of these cars.
And you can hear, right, compared to the Formula A box, the Tatris cars, those ones just cannot, these cars just cannot take it full throttle through the Lucas Loop.
Yeah, they have to have a big lift through Lucas Loop. Okay.
Just admiring the sound. That Ford V8, really good, especially when it's in song. But for the guys here, they just had to back it off a bit because they do not want to fry the electronic, fry the engine and the gearbox together, because somehow the intricacy of this car is you're gonna have to go off the throttle and blip shift, or you have a clutch. You can just clutch it in so that you can prevent the engine from just frying itself.
Okay, we're riding on board right now. Well, watching Francis Andrew Gonzalez. Looks like the gap is closing down, huh? Oh, is that a back marker between them? Yeah, I think that's a back marker. But you know, Gonzalez is the leader of Silver Class right now, and he needs these points to help himself in the championship.
Yep. And oh, there's a big lockup there.
cars
Who's that?
going
Going up. That's actually, well, it's not Harry Shami, it's Alan Drake Cruz. Alan Drake Cruz has actually dropped it from second place, and that has given Aldo Balagulan an opportunity to get up onto the second spot on the podium, and it would be made much worse here if anybody else who was in the gold class coming through. But no, in fact, he's actually well and truly clear ahead of the next car, Sai Prithvi Sandukar, who is the Indian driver for IR Esports, and quite nice to have Indian drivers as well, because I know those guys are fast. Along with Rishabh Banerjee, I've driven against both of them before in other leagues, but Alan Drake Cruz manages to just recover that and not lose position in his class apart from second place.
Yeah, just lost second place to Balagulan. Not a disaster, could have been much worse, but yeah, he'll be annoyed with that.
Yep.
So
and he didn't really have too much. Oh, that's
back
actually.
marker.
Yep. That could be Justin Hong and Yang Ming, because they haven't had the best of luck. Oh, big lockup there from Keith. No, wasn't Keith Moore. It was the car right in front of Keith Moore. It's actually Gonzalez. No, it is. Sorry, not Gonzalez. It's actually the back marker. But Balagulan is lining one up here.
The thing is, now that front left tire will be like a 50 cents piece. It's very hard to brake super late into Lucky Strike corner because the front tire is just going to lock up.
Ooh, the guy in front also locks up, goes into the grass. So not sure who that is, but luckily now that has given a clear way for Keith Moore to now at least defend better compared to where he had to start with the car in front of him. But Balagulan then looks as though he would be highly likely to overtake him, and he didn't really need to fight against it because they are in different classes, and I think Rick may have gotten the message. He has actually now told Keith to give way to Balagulan.
Yeah, they're not fighting for the championship, different classes, so good to see. Well, Balagulan now, third place on the road, second in class.
Yep. Francis Angel Gonzalez, meantime, has actually gleefully gotten away from the rest of them. He's 5 seconds ahead of his fellow countryman Balagulan, so at least now he can be on for the silver class win. But really then, Keith Moe had every opportunity to try and get that win just now, but that half spin really cost him big time. As we look further behind, this is Sai Prithvi Sundaka, who's in 9th place, but he is a gold class driver behind Alec Ray Cruz, so he's actually on the podium in the gold class, incidentally.
That's right, and if he stays in P9, he will finish. He will start in the front row for the reverse grid race.
Yep. Sorry, my corrections. P4, so he'll be P4 in the gold class. But either way, good drive from Sai Prithvi, who's a bit anonymous in that first round, but at least we're giving him some attention now and highlighting that he is pretty handy in these cars, actually.
Absolutely, very handy indeed. They are tricky cars to drive, and they're P9. So who's just behind? That's Muhammad Faiz Ryan, isn't he? The Indonesian.
Yeah, Faiz Ryan about a half second behind. The Indonesian yep. It's quite stiff, isn't it?
And behind these two, we've got Axel Nocom. Nocom was involved in that first lap accident, and he shouldn't be back there in P10. And he's got to try and find some lap time, because if he can get into 10, he'll be right in the front for the reverse grid race.
That's what he would really love, actually, because given the fact that he is now fighting with Alan Craig Cruz, a fellow countryman and his best friend as well in this class, so he really wants to actually get the better of him in the championship.
One more lap to go, though. Running out of time, we are.
Yep. In fact, Nabil Aslan has not been challenged at all. Yes, initially he was actually close to Francis Angelo Gonzalez, but he was not challenged at all after Gonzalez just faded a bit and Nabil was pounding in the laps. 112.2 is the race pace, and that will definitely be suitable for how he's been driving. He has been impervious since round 1. He'll make it a hat-trick of wins here in the gold and silver class in eRGP Global Edition 11. He comes across the line, weaves it, and takes the win here for Stratos Motorsports. That will do him quite nicely in the championship. Second place will be Francis Angelo Gonzalez. He crosses the line 5.9 seconds behind. Third, Aldo Balagulan, overall, of course. But Francis wins in silver. Aldo Balagulan crosses the line second in gold. And then Keith Moe, second in silver, fourth overall. So that will be your top two for the time being as we wait for more drivers to cross across the line. Nazri Aslan, the eldest brother among the Aslan clan, comes home in 5th place. And that will be his first ever podium in the silver class. And now we might actually get a word with the race winner and repeat winner, shall we say, Nabil Aslan. Alex, take it away.
Yeah, Nabil, congrats on the win. Congrats on pole.
Thank you.
First of all, let's talk about qualifying.
Yeah, let's talk about qualifying.
How was that?
Yeah, I got a bit worried. I thought my lap would have been fine for, but it was not. So I was a bit worried. And then afterwards, I knew where I knew where to gain the time, and I would have liked the gap to be even bigger in quali, but yeah, it's fine. Yeah.
Well, did the business. Looked pretty straightforward in the race, or were there any troubles?
Tires were a big issue actually. No, the fronts actually.
Wow.
I think I'll just spoil it to you. I was running for half of the maybe half of the race on the end. So.
Well, the fronts went away. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So you need to play around with brake bars a bit, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. Most of it is to the rear actually. So.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, it's interesting. I hope everyone's listening. Okay. Reverse grid race coming up. Congratulations and good luck.
Thank you.
Right. So that's words of encouragement from Nabil Aslan and a bit of tips that we can simply say.
Shall we talk to
go to that one?
Do you want to talk to Gonzalez, winner of silver? See if he's got enough time for us.
I think we do have enough time to actually
let's chat to him. Let's chat to Francis. See if he's around. Francis, wondering if you're around.
He got shocked a bit.
Chat to him. Okay, he just got up. Hey, Francis, congratulations on your silver class win. Woohoo! That was a good race. Any issues?
Yeah. Not really. Most of the time the car's just driving fine and just managing my own pace until I finish the race where I am.
How's the tire wear? Because Nabil was saying the tire wear was quite bad.
In my case, I think I'm running 50% still.
50%?
Yeah.
Maybe you're going to run 49%.
Yes.
Nabil was saying the fronts were going away. Was that the same for you?
Slightly, especially on the final sector of the track.
He's been a bit more cagey, isn't he?
Yes.
Okay,
true.
we'll leave you alone because the reverse grid race is about to start. So good luck.
All right, thank you.
Right. So that's pretty much two drivers being a bit coy with how the tire wear is going, but it does prove the point that the front of the tires were going, especially when you lock up on the front side, front left on the tires.
Yeah, so I mean, we saw Balagulan, wasn't he? He locked up the front quite a few times, and then after that, he was just waiting forever for the front tire for the car to rotate. So if you're listening, that's why you should be watching the live stream, guys. Is a few tips coming your way. Got to look after the front tires. And got to play around with what you got. Everyone's on fixed setup, of course, but you can play around with tire pressures. Can play around with also the brake balance. So that's what we were talking about with Nabil. I got a feeling he's probably running 49, 48% to the front. So we can have more brake bias to the rear to try and rotate the car.
Yep, and that's also a key thing, isn't it? Not to spin. Never get into a spin, especially with high tire wear races. But now, if we go back into the race, there's a bit of a throwback camera, and I think for people who watch F1 in the 90s, this will be a familiar sight. The rear wing camera!
Hey! That's cool. Look, you can even see the heat shimmering on the engine cover. That's so cool.
Nice little detail. And in fact, you can see the other cars also shimmering through. It's like the heat haze that comes
the heat
through.
haze and the vibration on the mirror. Oh, I love that detail.
Yep, we go to Calvin Powell's car or Hari Shami's car. That's a familiar sight, especially if you're a fan of McLaren back in the day.
Formula One. Okay, big thank to our sponsor, of course, Malaysia Motorsport Association Malaysia, who sanctioned us, Life Apparel, who make up beautiful T-shirts. Royal Selangor, man, those trophies I really look forward to. I got quite a few drivers and teams going, when can I get my trophy? Because they are incredibly pretty looking. X Park, where we're based, and of course, Axel Sports, the organizer.
Yep. Now we're going to go to the race itself, and we're going to jump straight away here. We got about 30 seconds left to go now before lights go out again for race number 2. Alex, any sort of predictions you're going to make for this one?
Well, if I'm the guys in the middle, including the guys who just won that first race, I would be super nervous. Starts are going to be key, but you can't really do much if someone spins in front of you. There's not much space to get around it.
Yep, let's hope no one climbs over the barriers for race number 2, as we are now waiting for the lights to come on. 5 seconds left to go. And when they go out, we're going to go up for race number 2 for gold and silver. Round number 2, we're on the way. And it's Sai Prithvi Sundakar who actually was on pole. But Faiz Raya gets the jump on him. And again, every single race that we had so far today, the one on the outside, starting in P2, gets the better run. As Justin Hong then is crashing out. He taps, of course, Nandesh Aram into the spin for good measure. Unfortunately, it has not been a clean start for both races as we are now on board with Keith Moore. I love this shot. This rear wing camera really is so nice. It really shows you how the suspension works on these cars.
Let's stay with this shot for a bit there. Keith there, he's in P12. The important thing is he's still pointed the right way. And there he is right now driving, fully concentrated, trying to make sure he does everything right as he comes down the back straight. Look at them come now. Oh, he's on the slipstream. Because he's going to pull to the inside for Lucky Strike corner. Yes, he is.
Yep, Hamdani really blocked it quite late there as he now comes through. Oh, Harris then locks up big time. Car spins in the middle of the way. That might actually compromise everybody. Yes, Keith Mo's actually been involved. He spun around. Oh, that's really unfortunate. It might have been Aswan Anwar now mistaken that rip. That actually let rip and everyone spins around. Nabil Aslan nearly spins. Oh, it's a house spin and he smacks into the side of Francis Angelo Gonzalez. That's an uncharacteristic mistake from the championship leader in gold.
Whoa, I don't think he's definitely not going to win this race. I think his run of wins is gone, I think, but he's got some damage to that front wing as well. Oh, it's going to be tough for him to recover from there.
And you can see the graining on the front right of the tire there. It has affected badly. His front wing is completely bent. This is going to be a mountain that he has to climb right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Mountain to climb.
That's the rear wing's also damaged as well. So
the rear wing's damaged.
So he's got front and rear wing damage. So that means that the car will be understeering badly. It's like the equivalent of taking both wings off the car. And he's got to overtake the likes of Hari Shami, who's not an easy get to overtake to begin with anyway. So Nabil Aslan then, the win streak is under pressure. But speaking of pressure, there's Faiz Ryan pressuring Sai Prithvi Sundakar, who manages to get back into the lead of the race. Amazing. Faiz, we thought it was going to get the run on him, but Sai Prithvi has managed to get back in front. Now, it's going to be the first time ever an Indian leading a lap here in ERGP, and probably he's going to try to aim for the win.
Yes, first one in gold. We have had an Indian win a race in, I think, silver before. But yes, and we're on board with Nasri Aslan, the eldest of the Aslan brothers, in P4, behind his brother in P3. So it's quite exciting, really. See what happens there in 5th position, of course. Ariz.
Haikal Aris, yes.
The blue car.
Yep. Oh, that's a nice color. In fact, he looks almost like the Lamborghini 1991. You know, it was called either Lamborghini or the modern car. But either way, that's a nice livery. It's a bit of a throwback to how the cars looked like back then. But either way, he's the 5th car in this particular train. Haikal Aris trying to get up to the back of Nasri Aslan first, then Nasbir. Of course, it's one thing to catch, but it's also another thing to overtake.
Just say Aslan, much easier. But yes,
Which Aslan?
Yeah, I'm loving these colors. This blue and yellow is very much like a Duckham's color. We used to have a Duckham's daylight rally at this track actually in the 80s and 90s, and I remember the blue and the yellow used to be all over the place.
Well, to me, it looks a bit like the Lamborghini in 1991. It's called Modern
Yeah,
look, it's a nice little livery that they've actually made for Biff Racing. But Haikal then has to buy this time a bit because these 5 have really seen the door open up because Nabil's involved in a bit of a mare. Now it's time for them to actually shine today as they come across the line then. 5 drivers together within about 2 seconds. Oh, that's... No, to make that 4 then.
Oops, yeah.
Make that 4 because Haikal just completely lost it coming out of turn 2. Now it's a drive. These 4 drivers gonna go. Nabil has actually exited the race. Nabil is out of the race, Alex.
Oh yeah, I think the damage to the car was too much, so he's out of the race. It did look pretty damaged, but his other brothers are still in the race, so definitely that clan is represented. Guys are qualified 1st and 2nd, just struggling at the moment. Ooh, Ryan doing it on the inside. Being the outside for the left-hander. Oh, goes super late on the brakes.
But it becomes the inside. But look at that. Prithvi actually holds on to the inside there and prevents 5 drivers from overtaking. Now, Nasbir and Nasri are trying to weigh out their options as well, coming into the final sector, Alex.
And Nasbir just trying to find some space. Oh no, it's not really an overtaking position. You need to be properly alongside to overtake there. Glad Nasbir decided to get out of that. But he's definitely stalking his prey.
Yep. Slowly creeping up to the back. You can feel that. I think the Aslan clan really have racing pedigree in their veins. They just know how to really weigh up the options and try to actually cause someone into a mistake. But having said that, the 2 brothers are being this close together. It's just, let's hope they avoid family Robinson if that was to be the case.
We're on board now with Gonzalez trying to still get past Hamdani. Hamdani doing a really good job there, P5. Gonzalez, I think, has the speed. Thought about the inside of there. That's never going to happen.
Yep.
Oh, Danny with very slow gear shifts.
Yes. You can feel that. I think he misshifted a bit there.
I wonder what rig Hamdani's using, because he's losing a lot of time down the straight with the gear shifts. Oh, maybe he's got some damage in that car as well. Yeah, that front wing looks a little bit bent. And Gonzalez, oh, Danny goes back through again, but overcooks it. Francis should be back in front now. And Danny now down to P6.
No, in fact, Danny back up to 5th because Francis was the one that he went over and under him. So Francis then with a huge amount of front wing damage is going to understay like mad. Oh, then he tries one coming through Rothmans, but no way through. Hamdani holds firm for the time being. And right now, the top 4 are still together, so we'll focus on that after this. For the time being, we're watching between Gonzalez and Hamdani. It's a real interesting battle, and through all of that, Axel Nocom is also coming up to the back of them.
Yep, so, excuse me, pardon that. It's Gonzalez with the damaged wing. Got them mixed up. There's a good chance for Nocom though. Nocom's not had a good day so far. If you can just try and get further into the points, that will suit him nicely.
Yep, and in fact, he will challenge Alan Drake Cruz slightly as up in front. So the car actually is under immense pressure. They're going side by side here, coming out to the lucky strike corner. Where is it gonna go? Side Prithvi. Oh, locks up big time. Big lock up. Manages to actually get it together. It was an absolute fishtailing moment there. Mercifully, he didn't hit anybody else on the way out, and that gives Faiz Rayyan, a silver driver, the lead of the race.
Oh, Nazma had all the hard work done. He was up to P2 and then locked up the wheel. This is where the composure, it's not just about being fast, you need the composure. to not make mistakes when you're in the critical part of battle.
Indeed, and the fact that it was Nazbe actually tried to look around the outside there, but Sai was on the inside and unfortunately caused him to lock up as well, so he had to back it off completely, loses completely the momentum as Keith Moore exits the pits almost disconsolately into the race pack. Nazbe is now up to second, Sai Prithvi drops to third. Nazri now will be weighing up his options. He'll try to follow his youngest brother through. Ooh, that was very close. That was really close, and he's gone onto the grass because Sai Sundakar actually just held on to the outside there, didn't give much room for him to go, and he had to take to the grass in invasive action.
Knock on there, all over the back of Gonzalez. Hamdani's disappeared from this battle, must have had a moment by himself. But yeah, Knockom's got the pace here. I think he can get past Gonzalez if he just bides his time a bit.
And indeed, the fact that with Nabil out of the way, this actually opens up a huge moment for Knockom to actually try and strike the advantage that Nabil has built up in the first 2 races.
Knockom there with 6 kilograms of success ballast. It's not that much though, should still be okay, but he also has got some front wing damage. It's going to make it very tricky with just under half the race still to go.
Yep. Time flies by so quickly, isn't it, in 15-minute races? But when you drive it, it just feels so long, especially given the fact that a lot can happen, and with a lot on the line, especially in terms of championship points, you just do not want to make the same mistakes like some of these guys that we've seen so far today. As Azwan Anwar in P10 overall, and not sure in exactly where he is in class at this point in time, because we need to just sort that out as it goes, as Justin Hung has a big lockup. That's his teammate in FSA Racing.
Knock on there, goes through turn 7. Still not getting a good exit out turn 7, so he's not really going to feature here. Yeah, Gonzalez pulling away a little bit down the back straight.
I just want to hear that sweet sounding V8, man.
Yeah.
That's just really the symphony of sounds. And in this case, F1's greatest hits. And it has to be this car. Just beautiful, isn't it? On the side, if you just stand still, even in your pit lane, when you hear these cars go by, it just gets your hair stands up. Now then, nothing much happening in front. The Fabulous 4 that were together were just starting to spread out a bit as Muhammad Faiz Ryan manages to build a bit of a gap, about 1.5 seconds in front of Nazmi Razlan. Sai Prithvi Sudhakar is in 3rd place, and he's still first in the gold class, so he would not be minding too much that he's here.
And we've got some zoom on board here. Let's look at him right now. You can see him on inset. Could be his dad watching him, wherever they're racing from.
And nice bit of airtime, actually. That's the first time I've seen how he looks like, so really then.
He looks pretty calm, doesn't he?
Yeah, and he doesn't have to worry about trying to challenge the guys in front, because he is actually winning in the gold class. Yes, we have 2 classes here together as Sai Prithvi just negotiates the lucky strike corner. Safe and sound for the time being. We still have about a few laps left to go. In fact, it is actually 13 laps the entire race duration. So after this, it will be 4 laps left to go, and he'll be on his way then to winning for the first time in the gold class, and the first ever Indian as well to do so.
Do you think he's running with controller? I think he's driving controller.
Well, if he does have a controller, actually, he is so calm. Because it's not easy to actually have that kind of input without crashing.
Let's just look at him right now. His shoulders are not moving.
Yeah.
So I think he's driving with controller.
But if he's driving with controller, this is so composed, you know. I've never seen a controller driver being this smooth.
Because you should see the car jerking, shouldn't you?
Yeah. Oh wait, there you go. Now we can see that was a controller moment.
That was a controller moment.
You can see how much it jerked through there, but
yeah,
amazing how he could keep it so smooth.
Yeah, we have to try and talk to him after this on Zoom, because I want to know what sort of controller he's using. If he is, I'm pretty sure he's on controller. Fantastic, man.
Yep. But either way, it's gone into a bit of a lull, as we have always alluded to. It's the final 3 minutes of the race. Still plenty can happen, especially if battle packs start to form, especially with the likes of Francis Angelo Gonzalez and Axel Nocom. About 0.8 of a second between them. You can see there, Nocom still biding his time, and he still hasn't found a way past his fellow countrymen. And they are in different classes, so Nocom doesn't have to worry about championship stakes between the both of them. But sure as heck that he will try to at least overtake him just for banter. through the Rahman's chicane. One more time. We're on lap 10. We have about 13 laps, if not mistaken. We crossed last time. Faiz Ryan holds the race pace up in front, but Nazmir Azlan might be weighing up his options here, trying to get up to the back of the Indonesian. That's further behind. That's Keith Moore actually behind both of these guys. He's not batting for position. He's a couple of laps behind anyway, so he's just watching brief. Nasri then up the back of Sai Prithvi Sudhakar, and if Nasri gets by, it'll be the first time ever that we had an all-silver podium overall. That would be a slap in the face for the gold guys.
That would be a slap in the face. Yeah, it's interesting indeed. It looks like Nasri's going to go down the inside. Sai will look to defend the inside to this left-hander now, but no, Nasri just breaks super late and makes the move. Good move by Nasri Aslan.
And Sai looks like he didn't want to fight too much by that because he knows full well that the tires are starting to go off. And remember, we heard what Francis and Nabil had to say about the tires is that they go off at the fronts even more. So if they start to understeer, especially coming through the lucky strike corner, that's it. Your race is done there.
I'd love to see what Sai could do with a steering wheel. Because as the tire weight goes off, it must be even harder to feel what's happening.
Yeah, in fact, because if you look at the controller, you have so much axis movement only laterally, but you don't have enough to go like in a very parabolic move, you know, you have like compared to a wheel. So if he actually raced the entire season that we up to this point on a controller, my big salute to him.
Well, I can't even drive these cars with a wheel. I don't know how he does it with a controller. Anyway,
Wow.
anyway
Boggles the mind.
Boggles the mind. Anyway, back on board Axel Nocom. Still hasn't got past Gonzalez, eh?
Yeah, Gonzalez really hasn't had to do much defending. He's just managed to keep him at arm's length. It's like the equivalent of you're stealing a candy from a kid. The kid tries to fight back. The kid has no way through because he's just keeping him at arm's length. And that's exactly what Gonzalez has done. He has not really been pressured so much by Nocom.
Nocom using the Sim Magic wheel, I think. It's the Sim Magic wheel, isn't it?
It is. The GT4 rim as well, to be exact. So he's got the exact same wheels as one of our rigs over here in the academy. So
Yep.
a nice little link up as Keith Mo then gives way. Not much histrionics there because he knows full well he doesn't need to fight. He just needs to finish, and he will still get vital points in the Silver Championship.
Yes. Be interesting. I can't see fastest lap on AC, but well, we'll tell later who got fastest lap.
Yep. Meanwhile, the timer has clocked. The clock has struck 0. So Faiz Ryan is on his final lap, the 13th and final lap of this entire race. And would you believe it? We're gonna have an all-silver podium. That's a great turnout for the books, isn't it? We've never had an all-silver podium before because it shows how good the gold drivers are. But today, the gold drivers were by the wayside due to accidents and other dramas that have been involved with other drivers. This is now gonna be the most historic result, if anything, in the ERGP Global Edition.
Absolutely. Fires Ryan there. Nazmir Aslan could get just about a second off, but not able to close the gap any farther. And Ryan there, great job.
Yep, indeed. So, Nazmir gave it all. He broke away from the battle pack, but it's not enough to get the win today, as out of the final corner comes the Indonesian Muhammad Faiz Ryan, not only to win in his class, but also to win overall across the line. What an absolutely brilliant win for Faiz Ryan. He drove an impervious race. Second place is Nazmir Aslan, third is Nazri, fourth is Sai Prithvi Sudhakar, who wins in gold. And across the line, Gonzalez still holds on in front of Nocom. Then it's Hamdani will be crossing the line pretty soon. Haikal is behind him, Justin Hung, and then Alan Drake Cruz will be the guys. In fact, it's Alan Drake Cruz and then Azwan Anwar. That's your top 10 in both overall and in overall, actually. So now we're going to get an interview with Sai Prithvi Sudhakar, who drove an amazing race to win for the first time ever in gold. Sai, can you hear us?
Sai, can you hear us? We're just trying to chat to you. Just unmute yourself, mate. Sai, it's Alex and Ammo trying to talk to you.
Sorry, I had it muted.
Yes, we can hear you now. Just quick question. Congratulations on P4 and of course winning the gold class. But are you driving with the controller?
Yes, I am actually, as a matter of
Whoa! Wow!
Wow.
And we can tell that there was a critical moment.
So
there.
when I for this competition, I actually had a wheel. I had a G29. It broke before the first round, so I had to
Oh.
adapt to a controller really quickly as soon as
Gosh.
possible.
Where are you racing from?
India,
Yeah. Which
Chennai,
part?
South India,
Oh, sorry, didn't hear that.
South India,
Ah,
Chennai.
Chennai. Okay, Madras. Well, hopefully you can find someone to lend you a wheel for the rest of the competition. Because if you can win a race, for gold with a controller, I'd love to see what you can do with the wheel.
Yeah. But to be honest, this track is really difficult to overtake on. A lot of incidents took place. I did have in that regard. I
Yeah.
had to practice a lot just to make sure I kept the car on the black stuff. It was
Yep.
really, really difficult.
Yeah, I could.
In my practice races, I always kept spinning out. So I had to keep practicing. Just kept practicing race pace again and again every single time just to make sure I don't spin out during the race. It was without any feedback at all. It is quite difficult, but somehow I managed to do it. Happy with this result.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations to that. Fantastic result for you. Very enjoyable to watch, and hope to see you back for the next round.
Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Wow.
Okay. Wow, that's a great story.
Yeah, that's a real great surprise, and the first time ever we had a controller winner in any class.
Yeah. Just see who else can we talk to. Ryan is not on, but let's talk to Nazmir. I wonder if Nazmir is there. There he is.
Yep.
Nazmir. Let's speak to Nazmir. Nazmir, P2, your first podium in gold class, silver class. You might want to point. So yeah, you might want to point your camera down a bit. But how was the race for you?
The race was fun actually. I was surprised I didn't get involved in any incident for both races, considering the nature of this track being very technical and very tight. So yeah, I did my best to keep it clean and keep it tight. And I feel like this is a much better race compared to the first round in Sepang. So considering it's like a new track for me, and especially Mother Tika in a track that I have never witnessed in real life, and yeah, I'm very proud of what I'm able to achieve today.
Awesome. Well, congratulations, and hopefully we'll see more results in the next round.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, the brothers all sound the same, don't they?
They do sound the same. Okay, well, that was. Anything you want to add first from that race before we go?
Well, I'm still taken aback by how well Sai Prithvi actually drove with a controller. It's amazing how we could see moments that the car started jerking. Yes, we could point out that was a controller. You were pointing out by the shoulder. I saw by the way the car was behaving. It just started to jerk in some areas. But credit to him, he won the race in gold. But he held it well even during the period where there was a lot of drivers around him.
Absolutely. Fantastic. Sai, you are a hero for today. Driver of the day, if you like. Unofficial. But that's it. We're done. Global Edition 11, round 2. And copper, bronze, gold, and silver. All done. Thanks very much. Thanks to our sponsors. Thanks to the participants for watching. And we'll see you back here for round 3 in 2 weeks' time.